Wah, bababoo baboo. Hello. Hello, fellas. How are we doing today? How are we feeling? Um, how's the dude treating you? Honestly, it looks kind of loud in the mixer. I mean, ooh. I am so sorry if I just blasted ears. Holy moly. Holy moly. Oof, big oof. Okay. I don't know why OBS does this. I meant to just adjust the game capture sound. And instead I made the sound really loud for a sec. Oh, I'm sorry about that. So here's the deal. Uh, guess who was just crying about a dishwasher? This guy. Um, oh my god. I don't know why it's so complicated to try to line up having some electricians come and do some work and then having the guys from Costco install a dishwasher. But let me tell you, it's the actual devil. All we unfortunately need to run a new line from our breaker box over to where the dishwasher is, which means that there will be men in this office cutting holes in the walls on Thursday morning. That means that I will need to do a lot of work so that my trinket-filled office doesn't get destroyed. In any case, I will make myself small again. There I am. And we're gonna continue on with our perfection work. I'm gonna be so for real right now. I don't feel like figuring out this golden walnut situation. I don't know where they are. My partner was like, "Oh, you can download this app and like make a copy of your save file and dump it in there, and it'll tell you exactly what you're missing." And I'm like, logically, I know this works. I understand that what you're telling me is correct. However, I am already late to a stream that I postponed by half an hour, and to my like tear-soaked brain, that sounds like it's so hard. It's so impossible. So I might do that after stream today, just to see what I should even be doing to continue collecting golden walnuts. We're missing 6 if you haven't been here before. Um, so our wine's still in the gold stage. We will be waiting for this to turn into iridium, and then we'll have to wait a little bit longer because I placed these casks. But Dora's running around today. She's got a lot of energy. There's a lot of papers on my desk. Because see, this is exciting instead of dreary, instead of me being like crying. um, there's this chapbook competition that I have been trying to enter for 2 years, and I have been failing just because I'm like, how the hell do you write a bunch of poems about the same thing? If you're unfamiliar with the concept of a chapbook, it's essentially like a mini poetry book that is. Oh God, you're so right. I do need to update this. Oh God, I didn't do that. Damn it. Oh God, I'm sorry if people are here for demos. This is why you shouldn't be crying about dishwashers before you go on stream. You're gonna forget to do something. Um yeah. Um thanks. No time for being clever. Only time for being quick. Oh god. It's not Friday, man. It's Stardew, man. Uh, oh. Okay, done. It should, it should. Hold. Now you're gonna have to let me know if it's updated. Beautiful, thank you. Um, alright. Anyway, I was talking about my chapbook. If you're not familiar with a chapbook, it's like a little poetry book. Usually it's slightly less formally published, so because it's something that's only maybe maximum 20 pages, It doesn't typically get a traditional spine or bookbinding. So I guess it's the zine. It's in the art world. It is the zine of the art of the poetry world. So yes, I've managed to submit one to the poetry competition that I have long, lusted for and admired. And I'm trying to get excited again because, man, being sad about the dishwasher really. Oh shit. Sorry, I'm getting really distracted. It really derailed me. I'm now realizing that it's the Stardew Valley Fair. Do I want to do that? What do I get for the Stardew Valley Fair? Do we remember? Is it just a silly little gold prize? Should I ignore it? Um, we're on year 6. We've been to 5 Stardew Valley fairs. Laura, what are you doing? I'm sorry. Miss Kitty is just freaking zooming. Hey, hey, those are, that's a tax I need to pay. Stop it. She's being crazy. Do I have any toys over here? Do I have anything to throw for her? Hold on, hold on. Hold. Ah, okay, there we go. There we go. Um, hello and welcome. Um, we started the day a little bit shaky. We had to call electricians and, deal with dishwasher things, but it's getting better with every moment. Dora's running around. I got a Or you Pepsi Max, Pepsi Zero. We got fancy Pepsi. We're looking up the Stardew Valley Fair. Um, what is happening? Hold. Grange display. I don't care about the scoring of the. No, 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 no. I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm trying to figure out if the Stardew Valley Fair is worth doing right now. No, I have this rare crow. I bought the Star Drop. Oh my God. Calm down. Get, get. Jesus, I might have to close her out of the office for the first time. Okay, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. Cool. I can ignore the fair. Fair warning. I might need to get up and deal with this cat. Um, because I've never seen her so spicy. She's having so much fun. She's just running around, attacking things. She's disrupting. Actually, hold on. This is my original typewriter written manuscript for the chapbook I submitted to a competition today, and I want to make sure that she doesn't destroy it when she's running around. So let me just put it away. It's got all of my so what I usually do is I like to write by hand and then I go to the typewriter, and then once something is typewritten, I like to go in with a pencil to make changes and edits and that kind of stuff. Um, and then I will either typewrite it again or go to the computer. In this case, there are some that I've typewritten again. Like there are multiple versions that have my handwriting on them. And I like to keep those because, I don't know, I think it's nice to see how a piece of writing has progressed in a really real way. Hey, baby, are you done running around? Or are you still going? You still going? You still running? Oh, we got one of them special fruits, the sweet gemberry. Um, uh-huh. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Um, and so I guess I could talk a little more about this chap book, this poetry book I've written. Um, I think the reason it worked so well, and finally that I was able to actually write one of these things, is that I started going on daily walks. Well, almost near daily walks. The ideal would be that the walks are daily, but sometimes that doesn't happen. And very organically, my brain was like, "Oh, we're out for a daily walk? Great, let's write something." Which I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, and so very organically, I started having a bunch of notes in my phone that just ended up being poems. And so I started transcribing them, And now the center of these, the central impulse of these poems is the waterfront near my house. It's within walking distance of my house. And I like that I have a very organic conceit, is what I'd call it. It's cool. I feel like a cool little poetry guy. Um, it's great. It's brought me much joy, and it has really affirmed my almost my self-belief in my own power of creation, which maybe sounds a little bit mushy, but hey, sometimes we're out here being mushy. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm happy that I was able to do this. And obviously, in the middle of working on this, I was like, "Oh God, all of the poems are bad. Like, I should never write again." But then now that I've kind of sat with the work for a while and looked at it and thought about it and had to like edit the work, I feel very strongly about it. I'm like, you know what? This is good work. I am doing an interesting thing. And that is a lovely and powerful thing to feel. So that's right, artists out there. You got to keep making. It might not feel like it'll eventually work out, but as a previous naysayer, sometimes it does work. Um, but hey, let's check back on that sentiment in the very likely event that I do not win this competition. But I'm trying to work on being more comfortable with failure as something that I'm going to encounter throughout my life. I have really strong perfectionistic tendencies. I have OCD. Well, I got a lot of things in my head that are trying to go against me in that realm. So just gotta keep working on it. Excuse me, goat. Um, I think today's focus might just be money making. And actually, we need to make sure our animals are well fed so that they're happy and they are producing as many goods as possible. Um, we need to get more hay because we're running out of hay. Yep. Did I ask Robin to build another silo? Is that what she's working on right now? Is that Did I put it all the way down at the bottom of the map? Yes, I did. Okay, so we're working on having another silo for more hay storage. Oop, free hay. Free hay. 9 free hay. That sounds like a really bad like indie band. 9 free hay. Oh, also, I love my shirt. You might not be able to see, but it says chocolate mousse, and it's a brown mousse that may perchance be made of chocolate. It is chocolate mousse. A chocolate mousse. Not me pointing at my titties and saying chocolate mousse, but sometimes that's what life is about. It's about the chocolate mousse on your shirt and your shirt that happens to be touching your chest. Thank you. I got it when I went out thrifting with my partner. Um, what do you mean it's locked? Mine's not home. I need to find some grass stat. This is bad. The chocolate mousse. Oh, grass does not occur out here. This is bad. We need the hay, but Marnie is a betrayer because I'm sure we have a lot more than like we need more than 30 pieces, and we put 30 pieces in there, so we have 60 pieces. But that's a lot of pieces of hay. Do we have grass growing anywhere else on my farm? Oh boy, because I don't want my creatures to go hungry. That's terrible and rude and evil. Oh man. All right, we gotta figure this one out. Do 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 do. We don't have enough space in our chest for all of our produce. Hmm. Hmm. Is it perhaps time for second chest? Yeah, second chest. Oop. I mean, the other thing I can do is that I could just go fishing on Ginger Island and bring the smokers with me and just have a fishing bonanza. That would be pretty cool. That would be fun. Oh, do I have Mushroom Cave? I unfortunately have Mushroom Cave. I think Fruit Cave ends up being better than Mushroom Cave in the long run. Ugh. Let's see. Oh, and I think there were things that didn't fit in my pocket, right? Yeah. Come here. Um, I also remember I'm trying to grow. Did I, did I do the, did I get this done? No, because I need to ship beets. All right. I think beets might be the last thing I need to ship for them, right? Oh, I missed a strawberry. There we go. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. The other thing. Okay, there are many things I have been trying to accomplish. However, I have been trying to also get around to painting. Um, Hopefully I'll get that done sooner rather than later. But the thing that I want to paint is I do not know if you have seen the TV show Severance, but I love Severance. It's got me so hooked. I am so deep down into that conspiracy vibe. Great show. In the opening sequence, there is this painting. There's like this, it's like, I think it might be after like the Miss Cobell like stand-in shows up. There's this painting of a goat that goes through like a painting animation process, but I want to paint that goat. It's like a weird, like smeared goat-esque kind of thing. And I that's what I would like to paint. And also I want to, physically paint because my friend gave me a bunch of her crusty old acrylics from when she did like one painting class in undergrad. Um, and if that's not the most perfect way to get back into painting, I don't know what is. Because I don't need to worry about like, oh no, like I paid for these materials, I better make sure like I make good use of them or I'm wasting them. Nah, dude. They were they were getting crusty in somebody's closet and now they're here. And so my only duty to these paints is to not let them get crusty in my own closet. So there. All right. Let's see. 'Cause we could continue like standing here collecting mayo, but what's the fuck that? We gotta have some actual fun. So let us scheme. We currently have 43,251 gold. We can go on a fishing spree, because as far as money making goes, that's not the worst. It's pretty good. So perhaps we take a quick totem to Ginger Island. We do some fishing, um, and we do some fish smoking. What does it cost to make a fish smoker? Hmm? Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Cave jelly. Now, where can I get cave jelly? As if this gives me an excuse to go into the mines. Now, now. Ah, we might be in business. I love the mines. I love an excuse for the mines. Source. Caught using a fishing pole at floors 20, 60, and 100 of the mines? Oh, okay. Okay. And luck buffs applied significantly increase the chance of catching it. All right, let's go to level 100 of the mines. Put a bunch of luck buffs on ourselves and catch some cave jelly, baby. Um we're not actually going to be mining, but we're going to be fishing in the mines. Um I don't know if curiosity lures will do it. Uh Whatever. Boobity-bop-beep-boo, bada-beep-bada-boop, ba-ba-dip-bop-bop. Let's do that. And we need some lucky food. Um, I guess we have some ginger ale. That's plus one luck. We can grab two lucky lunches. It's already 6:40 p.m. Deluxe bait instead of this bait. What do we have on here? We have a trap bobber, a little bit of curiosity lure on there. We got a couple other things in here. I do not feel like dealing with them, so Ooh, we can do that. 650. It's fine. It's fine. Let's go to the mountains. Hmm. Floor 100. Oh, she's singing. Singing, Natalie. She's playing the flute. All right, we can do a little preliminary fishing. Boop. Every time I come down here, I start thinking of Mario music. Bum bum boom boom. Ba-da-da-da-ding. Oh, it's our first cave jelly. Friends, countrymen, we've done it. Friends and ops alike. Mm. Oh, so we're gonna be pulling a lot. Excuse me. So we're gonna be pulling up a lot of trash. I see. I see. This is why you need the luck buff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Task understood. Take me back to my fishing rod. Let's see how significantly that alters the trajectory of this fishing night. I don't know how we're getting soggy newspaper from a lava pit, but I've learned not to question too much while playing Stardew Valley. The more you question, the less sense it makes. Oh my god, you only got trash? And I'm out here pulling up my second cave jelly? I must be super lucky. Oh my god, that Joja Cola is gonna be so hot. I wonder if it improves the flavor of it. Or if it oh shit, what the fuck is this? I don't remember. Ooh, I don't remember what. Shit. Ah, no, 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 no. I'll never know. I'll never find out. Oh, no, I'll never know what spicy kind of papa fish lives here. I don't know why I went that direction. That's bad. It's real bad. Ooh, spicy fish. Truly, I think it would be fun if the type of trash was different. Like the type of trash varied based on what kind of water you're fishing in. So when you're fishing down in the sewers with Krobus, it's all kind of nasty, poisonous looking, vile, gunky trash. And when you're fishing in here, it's all burnt up trash. The Joja Cola isn't just Joja Cola, it's like fiery Joja Cola. It's Joja Cola cherry. Oh, that would be cool. Joja Cola cherry that turns you purple just because red and blue make purple. Um, instead of blue. That's what I'm referencing. Oh my god. Our cave jelly prayers are being answered. We can make so many fish smokers. Like, we can't be stopped. I have never felt such a surge of power, except when I was playing Squeakross. Hmm. Yeah. But hey, our little trash processors are going to be running double, triple duty at this rate, because everything we make in those we can just sell. And those I'm not going to hoard for the end of the season. I'll just sell them as I make them. Or if it's a particularly good resource, I can hold on to it. But I don't know if it's going to be a particularly good resource. Wow. We already got 5 cave jelly. Dude, you might have blessed us. Excuse me. Your bad luck might have been, excuse me, the precursor to my good luck. Because that's how that works, right? Wow. I think what's interesting is that in English, there's no single word that describes bad luck. It's just good luck and bad luck. In Portuguese and in other languages, there's a different word. So in Portuguese, luck, if you're lucky, you have sorte. And then if you are unlucky, you don't have like, you could say boa sorte as in like good luck, but you have azar. That's the opposite of luck, is some like a noun for unluck. It's very interesting. Like, languages are freaking weird, man. Like, we already knew this, but every time I come across more evidence to the fact, I am astounded. Um, okay, we got our jellies. Oh man, we can make 7 frickin' smokers, dude. We're gonna be smoking fish until King Solomon comes back. King Solomon? Damn, I'm really, really living my brain's on a wavelength that I don't think I'm on. It's making decisions on its own, and I'm not stopping it. Ah, see, we are no longer just the mayonnaise kingpin. We are the mayonnaise kingpin of the smoker empire. You've heard of Gangster's Paradise? Now try mayonnaise smoker's paradise. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, that's right. We're that cool. Ooh, I don't know why that took me out. That's a good one. It's fun. You know it's gonna be good when we start with chocolate mousse. Alrighty, alrighty. We're gonna go do some. Yep, bestie. I'm going to Ginger Island. Let's check on our wine. Still gold star. That's okay. Alright, we're going fishing. I forgot to. Oh, wait. We got some food ready. Hold on. Hold. Oh, 17th. Do we have anything else I can plant? 8 days? 8 days is good. We can do that. Just the rest of the slots is gonna be sunflowers. Yes, beautiful, beautiful sunflowers. Just, we're gonna hold on to whatever plots we have. And I just want to be efficient about this, so I'm gonna put these in here. This is ill-advised, but I'm doing it for now. No, you know what, Natalie? No. If it's ill-advised, why are you doing it? Yeah, exactly. If it's ill-advised, why are you doing it? I need to learn somehow, and this is how I'll do it. Boom. Oh, we don't have space for sunflowers? Guess what? Bada boom, baby. Second chest. Alright, we're gonna put these driftwood in here. And we've also got this broken CD. And we got these broken glasses. Righty. Let's not accidentally use that. We have 15 torches. That's a crazy number of torches. Cool. We are gonna stow... No, we're gonna stow these things. But we are going to grab... What's a fish food I got in here? Trout soup. I got trout soup. Tomka soup. Let's grab the trout soup. Ooh, shrimp cocktail. There we go. That should be good. And I think we're ready to go to Gingy Island. I keep saying Gingy as in Gingy, but it keeps sounding like Junji, G-U-N-J, J-U-N-J-I, as in Junji Ito, the man who makes the scaries. That is not who I mean. I mean this here island right here, where apparently I'm growing a bunch of stuff. And then I started growing all the stuff last time and I just don't remember. Oh, and we got some taro ready. Because I wanted to see if I had any farming walnuts left. Do I need to pick them by hand? I don't think I do. It's just things that don't require the scythe. But hey, try it. Alright, no, we got no golden walnuts from that. Let's just set up shop and do a little fishing, huh? Be good. Now that we have a bunch of taro in our pockets? Yeah. Yeah, why not? Let's see what's in this here lake. This here pond. I mean, probably a lot of garbage. If I start fishing up too much garbage, I just realized, number one, I didn't eat any fish food. Number two, I didn't get my blessing for the Statue of Blessings. Number three, I didn't pocket any coal. So all of those fish smokers in my pocket, useless. How did I just pull up 2 snake skulls in a row? I also didn't put any like, fishing things in my pocket. Who am I today? And why am I not paying any goddamn attention to what I'm doing? Irk, man. Who is that? That's the tilapia. He's alright. We might do better with the ocean, but I'm curious to see what we got in the ponds. We got river jelly. Buddy boy, I regret to inform you that this is not river. This is not river. The river is next to this body of water. Hello, birds. How are you? Whoop, whoop. How are the birds? Whoop. Oh, this is a jittery guy. He on that caffeine. Somebody been dumping Joja Cola into this pond. Ooh, it's not been good for the fish. I'll tell you that much. Oh, it's a blue discus. Every time I see the fish named Blue Discus, I imagine some buff Greek man launching a fish across a field. It's called the Olympics. Look it up. They've been throwing Blue Discus for as long as I can remember. We got another Blue Discus. Blue Discus these... See, that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Maybe I'll just have a bunch of Blue Discus to smoke. But yeah, my lack of coal is going to be an issue. Unless I have secret coal in my chests and or I venture into the lava mines up top the mountain and just grab some coal. Or I can collect a bunch of fish and then head back to my Pelican Town homestead. Fishing tackle is worn out. Your fishing tackle is worn out. Yeah, I didn't prepare it correctly. I thought I had. That's a frickin' broken CD. First one of the night, huh? Okay. See, now it can't be perfect anymore because I messed up right from the beginning, from the onset. Discus. Someday I'll get my blue discus revenge. That day is not today. See, now that I'm saying blue discus, my brain goes, that's what blue lock should be called. Blue discus. I can make a new teen boy anime. Can't be that hard. Oh, I would say imagine an anime that's about the discus throwing team, but stranger things have been created. Okay. Well, sure is a lot of tilapia in here. I don't know why my parrot won't rest calmly on my skull. Usually he does. Usually he likes to take a little seat. Oh, this is that caffeinated blue discus. Look at him jitter. There he goes. I don't know why some of them are like that. Some of them are like... It's very strange. But hey, sometimes I'm like that and I don't know why I'm like that. They're like, oh, is it because you had coffee this morning? I'm like, no. No. It's not. Boo-doo boo, boo-doo boo. As always, I do have a lot of house chores to get done. However, I also have editing things to do today. I need to get back to my client with a quote, but I can't find my price table. And I keep contacting my father to be like, hey, I know you have a copy of this price table in your email right now. Please send it to me. And he keeps forgetting. Ugh. It's fine. I will have to contact him again. Let's call my dad. Please, please, sir. I require your assistance, but literally for less than 30 seconds, and then I can do my job. Oh, we got another one of them jittery boys. Oh, I've been meaning to figure out all my little, like, sound alerts and follow alerts and all that kind of stuff, but I opened up the dashboard on, like, you know, it's like the Twitch creator stream dashboard, whatever it is, and I was like, this is freaking overwhelming. I'll have to look at it again on a day when I'm feeling, I don't know, more able to handle the vicissitudes of life. In other good news, I'm gonna plan my birthday party again and just hope that people can make it this time. But that also means I have to think about, like, okay, what do I want to eat at my birthday party? Do I want birthday cake? And I'm not sure. I'm trying to think now, what are my favorite things to eat? I know there are a lot of little snacks that I like. I don't know. I could go for some, like, a vegetarian version of, like, the pigs in a blanket. I feel like those are a very American thing, but you take, like, the little sausages and you wrap them up in a little, like the Pillsbury croissant Pillsbury croissant dough triangle thingies. Anyway, I find them very nostalgic because my aunt used to make those for all the parties she hosted. And so I guess somewhere it's ingrained in my mind that that's a food you eat at a party. So I'm always looking for them. Oh yeah. Well, there we go. Um, I tried to make some before with like veggie, like non-meat hot dogs. But the non-meat, oh God, sorry, I have something in my eye. Ugh. But the non-meat hot dogs they're too big. They're too big, and so the balance of like, fuck, ah, ah. Okay, okay, we've achieved balance again. So the balance of like the proportion of hot dog to dough was incorrect. Fuck. Sorry, my eyelashes are coming for me. They're coming for my life. Please. Okay, there we go. And oh, honestly, I just thought of a really silly, dumb idea, which is to make a cat-shaped cake. Cat-shaped cake. Cat-shaped cake. That's silly. I'm not gonna do that because I'd want to put too much effort and work into it. And then when the time comes to cut the cake, I'd be like, no, not my kitty. Oh, so something else, something else. But part of my brain really wants to go all out. Hiding sausages! Oh, that's funny. It's the obscured dogs. Okay, okay, I can get behind that. Um, Hold on, I figured let me drop into Mr. Keys. Mr. Queez over here. Okay, extended family. We could do this. Like we've been fishing. Um, I don't remember where these are. They're in the same place as the other fish, right? So glacier fish is in the like cindersap forest, and then son of crimson fish is at the end of like the far right dock, and then radioactive carp is in the sewers, and then the legend 2 is in the mountains. I don't know where Miss Angler is. Where's Miss Angler? If we took this quest, we'd have to leave Ginger Island. Or we can give him 4 prismatic shards, which would be crazy. Actually, let's see what of the catalog I even still want to buy. Boo-doo boo, boo-doo boo. Boom, boo-doo boo. Seasoning. Just a dash will elevate any dish to extraordinary heights. I don't know what that does. Uh, Maybe I don't need. I guess I want to get Pierre's missing stock list for no good reason, and then the horse flute, even though I don't have a horse, because what if I decide to get a horse? Um, but that's not really priority. So I'm gonna take this quest. I don't know if I'll do it. Oh, we're at 89%. So we have 1 crafting recipe left, and then 6 golden walnuts, and then the clock on the farm. Wow, is that really it? We are cool now. We are so cool. Holy moly. Yes. We are the coolest farmer to ever grace the lands between. See, now I've been mentally considering what other foods to me make a party feel like a party. Like what party foods that you think about when you're like, "Oh man, I'm going to a really cool fun party. They're going to have like these foods there, these drinks there." Okay, wait. I realized there's a little nope, too short. Middle? Middle. Oh, I just couldn't see the little exclamation mark. Oop, that's my bad. So I could think about maybe Brazilian parties too. Um, yeah, cake is a big one. Like we got to do a good cake. I actually bought this crazy little plastic candle chandelier from an H Mart. It doesn't hang. It's like a candelabra, but for little birthday candles, and I'm very excited to use it on my birthday cake. So there's that. At Brazilian parties, the type of birthday cake they do, I'm not gonna say the name just because it's like kind of a problematic name. Not gonna lie. Um, but it's like a nice deep chocolate cake with chocolate frosting and then rainbow sprinkles. Um, at Brazilian parties, they also like to have, they say docinhos, which is literally just little sweets. So it's like brigadeiros and beijinho. Oh, dadinho bicolor. I recognize I'm simply speaking Portuguese, but so brigadeiros are these. The closest analog is like fudge. So they're made with sweetened condensed milk, cocoa powder, and then butter and sugar. You pour all of those into a saucepan. Oh, I missed a bite. And then you stir it, and you stir it, and you stir it on like medium heat until it gets to a boil. And you want to make it really thick so that when it cools down, you can roll it into balls and then coat it in like sprinkles or coconut flakes or walnuts or things like that. And they are very tasty. This kind of a luscious chocolate truffle slash fudge. Like the texture's a little bit different. It's got more of a bite, more of a chew to it than a fudge would. Those are a must at any Brazilian birthday party. Whoa, whoa. Garbage? No, thank you. Brigadeiros are some of the best like foods out there. Like every American person I've ever met who likes Brazilian food, the first thing they always mention is brigadeiros every time. And then obviously you have variants of like different flavors. So obviously chocolate is the big popular one, but you have one that's like coconut flavored, and that's the beijinho. Um, you can have the one that I'm thinking about, the dadinho bicolor, is one that it's half of it is chocolate and half of it is like vanilla, but the texture is different. So I'm gonna have to look up a recipe and see what's different about it. Because that's one that I always remember being really tasty, and my mom is like, I will not be making that. It's like too complicated. So maybe I should make it for myself. Prize my own palate, my own palate. Tuna roe. Oh, tuna roe though. Da-da-da, ba-da-dee-ba-dee-ba-boo. Dee-ba-dee-ba-doo-ba-dee-ba-boo. I know it's 6:20, but I'm gonna eat this drought soup, so I have more space in my pockets. Ba-dee, ba-da-dee-ba-dee-ba-boo. They also Brazilian parties, they like small, like easily consumed finger food. So you've got the docinhos that you could just pop one into your mouth, and then you have the salgadinhos, which is just little savory bites, is the translation. So usually they make like fried dough with different fillings, and I could do it. I could do it, but it would be so much work. Would it be worth it, is the question. So now I'm trying to think about the American parties I've been to. And I guess I'm thinking about more like children's birthday parties, which maybe is telling. Like I am searching for the things that brought joy and comfort to me as a child. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I'm recognizing it. I'm not gonna go like ham or too far. Um, I can assess whether these things are actually going to make me feel the way I want them to feel, and if not, I need to investigate deeper. Um, but if they will help me feel the way I'm looking to feel, which is just happy and safe and like I'm having fun and eating good foods, then why not? Maybe we'll have some silly little juice boxes. I love a little juice box. Okay, I don't need this frickin' driftwood. Get out of here, driftwood. You're always drifting, going around. Obviously, at my party, there's gonna be so much tea. Um, I am, after all, half Persian. We need chai at all times, and it's usually black tea or Ceylon tea with cardamom pods or like cardamom essence. Very lovely, very tasty. It goes very well with sweets. Um, do I want to go so far as to do decorations? Hmm, what do you mean hedgehog? Do tell. Hedgehog. I know you definitely don't mean Sonic, but my brain is going, yes, they had Sonic themed birthdays as a child. Is it something like, I mean, the other thing that's coming to mind is like a cheese ball that's got things stuck in it. This also I could be fabricating, but I guess I'll find out. Let's get rid of this amphibian fossils just so that we can grab these muscle nodes. Yeah, dude, I'm grinding out my muscle nodes. That's how bros talk to each other in the gym. They're grinding out their muscle nodes. Okay. Originally, when I got upset about the dishwasher, I was like, I don't want to stream. I don't want to do it. I'm too sad. And my partner encouraged me to stream, and they're like, babe, no, you gotta be consistent. And I'm glad that they did because this is helping me feel better. Like, I was really in my head, and it is nice to just come on here and just chat about, have a good time. What do I got in here? This is my special chest. Um, Half a cabbage that has little toothpicks that have sorted salty goods like meatballs, sausages, cheese. Ooh, okay, and I can see why it's a hedgehog. It's a lot of fun. Wow. Ooh. Honestly, I might go to the internet and be like, what are some like international like party foods? Ooh, okay, okay. Honestly, it's time to take notes. Me. Dee 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 dee. Boom, it's written down. I'm gonna look them up. Okay, alrighty, cool. And then, do I have? Okay, wait. I gotta go to my OG chest. There we go. See if there's anything to put in here. We got so much taro root. It's making me crave some taro bubble tea. I don't know if you've ever had taro bubble tea, that specific flavor, but it is delightful. Like absolutely delightful. It's got such a nice flavor. I don't even know how to describe it because it's just taro flavor. And it's a beautiful light purple color. It's good. This is making me realize I haven't had bubble tea in a while, which is a damn shame. It's a very nice, fun little refreshing drink. Um, I think my favorite though tends to be the I don't know why I'm on this tangent, but I am. My favorite bubble tea tends to be fruit-based teas that have like lychee jelly. Oh, I love a lychee jelly. It's just tasty because lychee has that fruit, very very intense fruit flavor, but it's also a little bit um flowery. It's also got like an herbaceousness to it that I find simply delectable. Delicious. Uh, okay, I don't need to do that. All right, and this time we're not going to make the mistake of not having enough coal. We're putting coal in our pockets and row in a chest. Hold on. I put it in the other chest. Hold, hold. And then the river jelly. Good, good, good. Beep, bop, boop. And I guess I should get some fishing items. I have more bait. I've got dress spinner, trap bobber, maybe a couple curiosity lures. Should be good. Who are you? Super cucumber bait. That's very specific. I have super cucumber bait. Hmm. Hmm. All right. We're just gonna call it a day. Call it a day. And then we're going back to Ginger Island. I'm ignoring Mr. Key's quest. I don't care, Mr. Key. I don't want to look for a specific fish. I want to just fish. Sorry, I just got an email. Sorry, my microphone just cut out my laughing. So I applied to a position at a university 2.5 years ago. Didn't hear anything. Position was still open on all of their websites. I just got an email saying, like, sorry guys, like, we filled this position and we are moving to a new hiring platform. Like, I think I knew. I've been known that that position was filled, but like, why are hiring managers at so many different institutions doing such a bad job? Like, specifically lately. I'm not saying that hiring managers there haven't always been, like, managers doing bad jobs. Oh, wait, did she make me breakfast? Oh, thank you. That's cute. But goddamn, it feels like it's been even worse than usual. Oh, I forgot about the hay for my creatures. Fuck, we need to go right now. Oh, they've probably been hungry for a day. Oh. Oh, Marnie sent me that in the mail not to be nice, but to be like, hey, you dumb bitch, your animals are starving. Figure your shit out. Oh god, Marnie. Please. To be fair to me, though, she wasn't at her shop when I tried to go buy food for my creatures. You're the reason they're starving, Marnie. Hold. There we go. I can buy 5 at a time like this. I'm just gonna keep going. We're just gonna buy so much. There's no reason for me not to do this. I'm always running out of hay. Always. Oh, I just spent all of my money on hay. That's okay. We can survive this. We'll be okay. The animals, though? The animals will not. Hopefully Robin's done construction down here. Good. And I can place this food. Okay. And the silo's now full. Oh, are you guys hungry? Oh my god, did they have enough food? Holy moly, did I catch it just in time? You don't say! You don't say! Okay, maybe I assumed that more time had passed. Maybe it was only one day. Oh, they're not unhappy? Oh, they've had enough to eat, thank God. Excuse me? Hold. Hey, there's an interlocutor here. Stay away from my creatures. Frickin' interlocutor. Don't interlocute. J'accuse. Interlocutor. Sorry, that was, like, horrific and insulting to anyone who speaks French. Oh, that was honestly my main struggle with playing Expedition 33 is that I have, like, really intense echolalia. And so that entire game felt like a balancing act of, you know, just like struggling not to just repeat things back. And I don't know, I just don't want people to think that I'm actually making fun of any language, because I'm not. I just really enjoy the sounds. Like, a lot of languages have sounds that English doesn't have. French, for example, has a lot of sounds that English does not utilize. And that's cool. And so I like to attempt to make said sounds and see how close I can get. The answer is usually not very close at all, but can't say I'm not trying. Extra friendship, girl, I am so good. I'm such good friends with everyone around me at all times in this town. Everyone loves me. Don't you dare dispute that. I know I said I was gonna go fish, but I don't know. I got a lot of stuff in my pockets that I need to deal with. Actually, okay, one thing at a time. Let's grab this corn because we were meant to get these corn games. Corn gains. They're not corn games. They're corn gains. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna pick up this mayonnaise. Oh, please. Oh no, my pockets are full again. Okay. Everything's going so much faster than I expected it to. Here we go. Oh, we don't have space for the regular corn. It's okay, because this regular corn will go in here. And I guess we can just continue smoking these fish over here. I thought I'd need to go to... I really thought I needed to do some extra plans over here with the smoked fish. No, I'm not trying to eat the tilapia, please, sir. Do I have any repeat smoked fish? Okay. Oh no! What were the ad? Also, everything about like having ads is new to me, and I feel bad that I have them, but hey, last the other a couple of streams ago, I made 20 cents out of my ad revenue. That's right. Somebody who had Twitch Turbo watched my stream for 2 minutes. I got like 10 cents, baby. Ah, I know it's like normal, but okay. I like to hang out. I am curious to know what kind of ads Twitch is peddling over here. Like, what are they saying? What are they doing? Okay, I need to know. Because I'm gonna be real. So I used to have the regular Spotify, not premium, and I was kind of shocked and horrified that they had so many condom ads. I was like, yo, what is happening? Like, I was just a high schooler trying to like clean my room while listening to music, and then suddenly Spotify is like playing like a Trojan, like several like Trojan condom ads back to back out loud in my room. And my parents are home naturally because at that point I was like a teenager, right? And so I'm horrified. I'm being like, stop. And I'm fumbling with my phone, being like, no, stop. My parents are going to think the wrong thing. They're going to think I'm watching something I shouldn't be watching. Ugh. I wonder if they still do that. I now have Spotify Premium, just because I walk around a lot and listen to music while I'm walking. So having ads constantly interrupting the music I'm listening to is really, really unfortunate, and I hate it. So I pay for premium. So I don't know what Spotify's ad game is right now. Like, what are they advertising? I guess eventually I'll find out. Okay. Perhaps... Sorry, there is a strange dog barking outside. At least I think it's a dog. Oh, I have this very cute chicken statue, and it's not somewhere where I can see it all the time? Dude. Oh! It's so cute! If that's a dog, someone should frickin' check on it. It sounds unwell. Yoicks. The sound I'm hearing feels like it's a mix between a dog barking and, like, an ambulance siren? I can't say I understand it. I make no such claims. Alright, maybe, oh shoot, maybe I need to move, I probably need to move that chest. Okay, hold on. Oh, I can't fit everything that's in my chest in my pockets right now. Alright, we'll figure it out. We'll do it. It'll be fine. Okay, I'll have empty pockets at some point. I also am realizing I keep trying to make it down here to check on this guy. Uh ba 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 dee ba doo boop. Meow. Am I more than you longing for? Yeah. Up. At a boop beep ba boo ba deep. Oh, that's just who I am this week. Mother Liam. See, I've been out of my Fallout Boy phase for a couple weeks, and still it's Insidious. It is in my mind. Oh my gosh! You got Fields of Mystria! I'm so excited for you. When I saw that it was on sale, I thought about mentioning it on stream, but I forgot. But I'm glad that you caught the sale. Oh, I am excited for you to experience this lovely game. It is just such a good calm chill time. Oh man. Oh, yes, yes, yes. This is good. This is mm-hmm. I'm just excited. Ee-ba-da-boo-bop. Yes. I was actually talking to my two brothers yesterday about video games and things like that. Um, And I didn't realize that my older brother also likes to play Stardew Valley, but it's one of those things that he only plays it with like other friends or like his partner just because he very much like me will fall into things and then not look at anything else. And even to like a more extreme degree where he's just like locked into that thing, he'll forget to eat the whole 9 yards. So he's just like, I'm just being careful. He's like, I don't even know how to run the game. It is all in someone else's hands. This is the only way I can enjoy it. And I'm like, you know what? That's so valid. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. Look, there's a lot of stuff in the summer sale that looks really good. Actually, I have a few things in my cart. Um, a good friend was recommending Graveyard Keeper, which apparently is like Stardew Valley, essentially, but you are taking care of a graveyard. And I'm like, okay, I'm always here for the spooky vibes. I like to play spooky-ish things. And he was like, well, it's not even that it's that spooky, it's just a different aesthetic. And I'm like, hey, I will do anything. I will play most things. So that's on the list, and it's on a big sale. I saw that unpacking is on sale, and that feels like my kind of thing. So I might pick that up. And then there's this game that I watched Jacob and Julia from Secret Sleepover Society play called Fruit Bus. And I am just so enamored with Fruit Bus, and I want to play Fruit Bus, and it's on sale, and I don't see any reason why I shouldn't get it. So that's in my cart right now. I should just purchase them today. Um, and I can play one of them on Friday. I can mentally justify it that way. Um, yeah, I've watched a little bit of gameplay for unpacking, and I really like that they kind of let you decide when you're done with the unpacking. Just in the sense that yes, you need to unpack everything and everything needs to be put away, but they'll kind of let you arrange things however you think they need to be arranged for as long as you want to do it. Like they're like, hey, things are appropriately unpacked. You've done it. But if you want to keep like organizing, you can. And I'm like, well, I love to keep organizing. You know me. So it looks really nice. And I've heard that the story that gets unveiled as you play is also really sweet. And like, hey, we something that's cute and sweet and involves organization and oof, sign me up. All right, let's go walk about our coops because we need eggs. We need eggs to fuel our mayonnaise empire. I do not wish to be stopped, and so I will decide that it cannot happen. Check this out. We got some dinosaur eggs. That's dinosaur mayo. What else do we have? Hello, fellas. Hello. A new dinosaur. All right, what are we calling this dinosaur? I was doing people's pets. I might have run out of pets. What do we like for a little lightning lizard that will always be tiny and will never grow into the full glamour of the pepper rexes down in the mines? Um, hmm, hmm. What shall we call you? Kitty? I'm into it. Let's do it. Kitty baby. I'm noticing I'm noticing a theme in pet names in your families. You've got Neko, your mom's got Kitty. We gotta go through all the ways to call a cat a cat. We love this. Oh, the creatures are entering their homes. Holy moly! Holy extravaganza. Well, well. Duck feathers and grab these guys. Okay, okay. Oh, he's an angry tuxedo boy. Oh, so you're saying he's kind of March-like. Oh, an angry tuxedo boy. Oh no, he hates you and your cat. Oh, but I can understand it. A lot of cats are not good with other cats. Um, I say looking at Dora and being like, please, please figure it out. Please learn that they will not hurt you, but she may never figure it out, but we'll see. Right, let's just make sure our empire can keep going. Ooh, alrighty. How about you? You're doing okay. Ooh, you only got 5 eggs in there? Uh-oh. 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 We might be processing eggs faster than our chickens can handle. That's kind of impressive. Damn. Damn. All right. We're gonna put these rabbit feet in here as well. Boop, boop, boop. I know I can process this wool, but I don't know if I have. If I know I have the machines, I just don't know where they are. Um, huh. So he lived with your cat for several years, and he still held his animosity. That's interesting. Although my my partner's old cat, who now lives with their ex, he has always he first of all, he is like that cat's like 23 now. That is the oldest cat I've ever heard of. Like his name's Jimmy. He is crusty. He is 23 and looks it. And he was very mean to Sprout. Which is kind of why Sprout can be a little bit of a bully, but Sprout is not completely like that, luckily. She has figured out that she can. Right? Right? Yeah. Isn't that crazy? We mentioned Jimmy to my dad, and the face he made, he was like, "You're pulling my leg, right? You're joking about that cat's age." And my partner's like, "No, dude, he is that old." Like, I don't know. Wait, what am I doing? I'm mayonnaising? Yeah, yeah. Oh, Jimmy. It's kind of impressive, but he is an ill-mannered old man. He does not appreciate his ripe old age. I don't know. I feel like I've heard of a lot of people who have very old cats, and there's like, we have looms, but I don't see any sort of consistent through lines. Part of it might just be genetic in the sense that the thing that usually um kills cats is that their kidneys give out. And because they're not very good at staying hydrated, and they're not very good at processing water, generally speaking. So it could just be that Mr. Old Man Jimmy over here has some really powerful ass kidneys, and he's just still going. Because I don't think that they do anything particularly like special or revolutionary to care for this cat. I think he might just be lucky. Right, I'm just gonna take a stroll around my farm, take a look-see. We've got our cranberries, this is our broccoli, we've got corn. Oh, oh, our yams. Our yams are ready. We got a bunch of yams now. Can we still grow more sunflower seeds? Yes, we can. Sorry, more sunflowers. Beautiful. Um, oh, but hey, this means we are very close to the Halloween holiday, which I do not remember what it is called. Analog for Halloween. And that means that we're going to be really close to grabbing our penultimate scarecrow. Um, I had that scarecrow before, but I put it on my farm and it got destroyed. And boy, oh boy, did that really get my frickin' goat. Made me so angry. See, I said I was going to fish today. I did not fish, but we will be fishing tomorrow. We're going to do so much fish work. Let us say hello to our cute little family that will have eternal children. Hello, Robert Frost. Children's names are Robert Frost and Rapid Jacob. It is perpetual Christmas in this living room because I think that brings joy. And then obviously we have like not nearly enough portraits of my wife Penny. Actually, can I put portraits? I could totally put portraits of her down here, can't I? A whole new world. A whole new world has opened up to me. Holy moly, new avenues of joy and expression in this moment. Hello? Demetrius? Thanks for the bream, man. I guess. Alright. We gotta put these in here. I guess I'll put the cloth in here. This bream, we can smoke. I can smoke anything, really. What's our blessing for the day? Infinite energy. That's perfect for a day when we want to fish. We will grab this mayo so that the mayo machines can continue building up our mayo empire. And then honestly, we're just gonna head out to Ginger Island. We're gonna do some Ginger Island fishing. Although this isn't a lot of space, so we are gonna make some space. We're gonna just... Yes. There we go. That's the space we're gonna make. And our fishing rod, alright, we can put a curiosity lure on there. There we go. Ginger Island, here we go. Beep boop ba boo ba boop beep bum. I'm hoping I just stumble into more golden walnuts. That's the truth. That's the gospel truth. Bless my soul, Herc was on a roll. Undefeated, flying high, and the nicest guy. Not conceited. I guess I live my life in a daily musical. What doesn't help is that my partner and I the other night watched a silly little video that was just doing a joke conspiracy theory about the High School Musical universe, and it relit the flame within me, the High School Musical flame. I don't know why, I really enjoy watching those movies. They bring me a weird sense of comfort. I love Troy has at least one emo song per movie where he's like, I'm conflicted, I don't know who I am, please help me figure out if I'm a jock or if I'm a theater kid. And they're always good. They're full of like anger and expression. And I feel like maybe just I relate to that feeling of the conflicted feeling of like, oh, I don't know what I should do, and no one around me can tell me what I'm supposed to do or who I'm meant to be, because I need to discover that myself. But how the hell do I do that? And I guess, I don't know, I'm into it. I also really like the character of the theater teacher, Ms. Darbus, because she's an absolute icon. And I don't know, that's cool to me. I'm into it. It's also really weird to see all of these actors so young. Because recently, my partner and I were watching Celebrity Jeopardy, and Corbin Bleu was on there, and he is like Troy's best friend Chad in High School Musical, and I was like, is that freaking Corbin Bleu? Like I missed the introductions, so I didn't hear Johnny Gilbert say his name, and I just saw him on the podium, and I was like, now wait a minute, Chad, #1 basketball boy, Chad? No. And now he's like out there being in musicals and like having a serious like music career, and I'm like, that's crazy, man. But power to you. It is nice to see when former like child Disney stars are able to break away from that and have decent lives and careers. Because sometimes they don't, and that like being a Disney star has really broken them in a profound way, and that's always upsetting to see. Um, okay. This also, for some reason, my brain's like, I need to make a parody of High School Musical, but it's just Natalie. It's Natalie musical, and the main conflict is my main conflict leaving undergrad was, do I want to apply to writing programs for poetry or fiction? But you know, in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, damn, I can't believe like I felt like life and death were hanging in the balance of that decision. But also, it was a really obvious, like in hindsight, obviously, it was a really obvious decision because poetry, particularly in undergrad, came much more easily to me. So I don't know what I was doing considering going into a fiction program. Like now, I'm at a point in like my writing development and my writing practice that it makes more sense for me to circle back around and pursue fiction to some degree. But as an undergrad, mm-mm. Because also, this isn't to say that young people and undergrads don't have important things to say. They definitely do. Like particularly a lot of my high schoolers in some of their writing, when I let them get more creative, they had some really beautiful and deep, important things to say. However, I was a very self-aware young person. And when you're a self-aware young person, you kind of you'll hit the nail on the head and then just go way too far about it. So I had like one short story where I was trying to interrogate how, not directly, but I was trying to look at a bunch of like the difficulties of kind of living through life and having a family and having really particular or strained connections with different family members, but still loving them and wanting the best for them. And then that alongside how modern American society treats elderly people and how elderly folks don't really like we don't make space for them in our society. Like we do not like there's no physical spaces for elderly people. Like a lot of jobs require like too much. Like it's like there's like this weird lack of respect or lack of willingness to make this country and society somewhere where like just everyone can live in. And so I was interrogating also the idea of like like senior living homes. Also because for high school I volunteered at one of those places, and it really negatively affected my mental health because just seeing so many older folks who didn't have people who would visit them, and so them talking to me for 20 minutes was like the highlight of their day because they're like, oh no, my son threw me in here and he never comes to see me. And it really hit me in a profound way because also my grandmother had recently passed away, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her, like, in the ending years. It was a whole complicated mess, and I was trying to fit all of that into, like, a 10-page short story for a creative writing class assignment. So all of these ideas are really good and important and need to be explored, but just the way I approach them, and anyway, it's like a lot of big stuff for an undergraduate to try to tackle. And yeah, it is really sad because also I've been trying to be more mindful of this as I've grown up because I'm like, okay, if society is not creating the space that I think it should for certain people, I damn well better try to create that space just in whatever small ways I can as an individual and just for the people I know in my circles. So I've been trying to like call my grandmother more often and, see what kind of hobbies she's into and, you know, just, I just want to be a cooler, better person. And I can see so many ways that I can get there. And I just don't know which one to focus on first. Um, but yes, part of that is I do want to write stories and poems and stuff like that that address these things and hopefully get them published and figure out how that works. The other part of it is just largely so many societal systems in the United States are broken. They're just broken. And there's like no one path to get to the answer because there is no one answer. I feel like I just went on for a very long time about something that's been somewhat like buried in a fold of my brain for a while. And I think maybe it's been on my mind more lately because my dad's birthday was last month and like obviously like my parents are getting older, that's what happens, but I'm looking at them and like, "Oh man, they're such they're lovely people and they have so many things they like to do and so many interests and I'm starting to like get worried about what we'll do when they need more help. I'm like, oh God, that's too sad. And that's what I'll say about that. I'm like, I can't look at this in the face right now, but I don't want to put it off because putting it off is the worst thing you could do because then you won't be ready. In any case, um, being an adult comes with a lot of freedoms, but then also a lot of hidden responsibilities that you don't realize until you're there. And you're like, oh man, oh, yes, indeed, dragon. But honestly, most things are crises for me, so I've stopped identifying them as such. It is what it is, baby. Um, Existential crises while we fish in Stardew Valley, it's more likely than you think. Oh, I missed the bait bite. Oof, there we go. There it is. Yeah, I think I need to watch High School Musical. I'm gonna start with High School Musical 1. Naturally. Although I say that because sometimes I just jump straight to 3 because 3 is the one in which they're like graduating, so they're trying to make those like college decisions. You know how it is. Um, okay. Oh no. There's no one to cover your lunch, bro. That sounds kind of illegal. Like you're legally owed a break, sir. Fight someone? That's not your fault. Okay, small building. Hold on, I need to catch this fish and then I can see the full ramifications of your chat message. Oh, it's a toonie! Tuna's great. Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like, leave them alone at the circulation desk, sure, but not leaving them alone in the building. I can see that. Yeah, I understand. Because it's also, like, not your coworker's fault, right? Um, I did learn the other night that apparently, originally, High School Musical 3 was going to have, like, a haunted high school theme to it, which is really funny to me. I don't know why. I just felt the need to share this tidbit, just so you know. Ah, yeah, it's good. I do want to continue to contemplate what the Natalie musical would be, though. Hmm. Someday, someday. Maybe I'm the next Lin-Manuel Miranda and we don't even know it. Just kidding. Truly just kidding. I don't know why I feel the need to fight that man so intensely. Like he's done some cool stuff. And yet I see him and I go, it's on sight, bud. Not out of hatred, just out of pure monkey-brained instinct. Like he wrote some of the music for Moana, maybe all of it, and I love Moana. First one. I haven't seen the second one, and I don't think I will. I was really kind of mad and angry when I saw that they were making a second one, and it looks like an empty cash grab. I've heard that it's actually an empty cash grab, and I'm like, damn. The first movie was so heartfelt. How could you? How could you? Mortuna. We are, dude. This is where the money is. This frickin' tuna? Oh my God, the lionfish is worth more? Oh, I've been silly my whole life. The flounder, though. Flounder is floundering. Okay. Hmm. You didn't pack enough food? Bro. It's kind of cringe to not eat good meals. I say as someone who is guilty of that and who has only gotten better at it because my partner's a really good cook. Yeah. That doesn't mean I should stop working on it, though. I need to keep working on it. Um, oh yes, I don't know if you were here, Dragon, but I was discussing like what foods I could possibly desire for my birthday party, which I am attempting to reschedule. And we've had some good ideas. And uh uh I've learned of a dish that is it is the hedgehog. It is the hedgehog. And it's apparently half a cabbage with like skewers of tasty little meats and such little cheese treats skewered into it. So hedgehog makes perfect sense. I feel like there's an American equivalent to like hedgehog, and I think it's just a giant ball of cheese because when is an American dish not a giant ball of cheese? It's probably like pimento cheese or whatever. Ah, purchase supplementary food. No, I see you. I see you. That's a good way to split it even, but you're saying you don't want to leave your coworker alone in the building, right? So you cannot go purchase supplementary item. I think this is the issue that is occurring, yes. Wow, it's already 5:50 in Stardew? We gotta start fish smoking. Mmm. Yep. Look at that. I'm using my big old brain here to understand a normal conversation. It's good. Fellas, did you just see me fish up that 61-inch tuna? Bet you could never. Harvey, I don't think you even know how to fish. It would be funny if Harvey is like a crazy proficient ichthyologist for no reason. Um, oh no, canning spot disappeared right as I noticed it. Um, also, I only know the word ichthyologist because of Animal Crossing. There's a there's a lot of like ecological knowledge and vocabulary that I only know because I played Animal Crossing and Animal Crossing uses the words. Um, I think the bug one, is it an entomologist? It's something like that. Golden animal cracker. Yeah, I think it's an entomologist because the entomology is bugs, etymology is words. Okay, I thought maybe there would be a panning spot over here, but I've been betrayed. I've been like utterly betrayed. You know it because one of the siblings had an ichthyologist phase. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I think I like fish in concept, like in games and in Animal Crossing, but the reality of fish might be a little bit too much for me. You know what I mean? Like the reality of texture and smell. But my partner really likes to fish, and I'd be happy. I'm like, look, we can get in a boat, we can go out into a body of water as long as I know the boat's not going to tip and I have like not nausea medication. If I can bring a nice book on my little Kindle, we can do it. I'm into it. Like, oh my God. I found out the other day that I read the second book in a series instead of the first one. And let me tell you that I was devastated. Oh, it's just, it's just, it really, it fucked me up in a couple ways. Like I got obviously I mentioned this, but I have OCD, and so like that flared up. Like my brain was like, everything you know and love will be destroyed because you committed this terrible sin, and so I had to calm that part of my brain down first. Um, but when I thought about it logically, that second book, like read, like I understood it well enough that it didn't read like, oh man, I probably picked up the wrong book in the series. So that's a testament to that second book. And now I've come back to the first book and it's still worth reading. So I feel okay that I made this mistake. Like, would I have preferred to not make that mistake? Yeah, obviously. But I feel at peace now. The books that I mixed up is that so if you know Brandon Sanderson, you know the Mistborn series. And he's got three eras. You have Mistborn Era 1, which is 3 books, Mistborn Era 2, which is 3 books, Mistborn Era 3, which is also 3 books, I'm pretty sure. And so I'm on Era 2, and I read the second book, which is Shadows of Self, instead of Alloy of the Law, which is the first book. It just, I'm on my Sanderson journey. It's okay. And it's also, I started talking about my theories with like speed bubbles and slow down bubbles with my partner in the car the other day, and they like they put their hand up next to their face so that I couldn't read their expression because they've read everything that there is to read, and they're like, "Oh, haha, it sure would be funny if someone did that or if someone combined those powers." And I'm like, "Oh, do I need to stop talking about this with you so that you don't spoil things for me in like Wind and Truth, which is the most recent Stormlight Archive book?" And they were like, "Yup." They're like, stop using your theory brain. You're figuring things out too fast. I'm like, okay. But I always think that it's a positive thing when readers can look at details of a book of a universe created in a book and make logical inferences about powers or like how different things function or interact that then are represented further on in the series, because that means that the writer did a really good job of setting up their fantastical world. It means that the rules are consistent enough, they make enough sense, the reader can follow it, and that like there's, I don't know, really cogent like logic to it. So I'm not mad about it. I'm just more curious to see how like this this whole thing I've envisioned will actually play into the series, because I don't know, it's a big thing. If you haven't read Brandon Sanderson, if you don't know who he is just by hearing his name, you might know that he's the person who, excuse me, ended up finishing excuse me, the Wheel of Time books when the original author passed away, which is really sad, but he writes books that are like 1,600 pages long. And obviously, I knew that going in, and I was like, man, I hope this doesn't turn into a slog. I hope I actually like this guy's writing, because if I don't, this is going to be unfortunate, because he's my partner's favorite author. I was like, ooh, what if this turns out to be a terrible mistake? What if I don't like it? And somehow Sanderson makes makes like reading a 500, sorry, a 1600 page book feel like you're just reading a chill novel. It's easy. It's easy. It's like, oh, I didn't realize I'd been sitting on this couch for 5 hours. God damn. That's actually impressive. It also kind of inspires me to continue working on my own stuff. So I'm like, okay, if Brandon Sanderson can figure out how to make like entire universes and like continue and continue and continue and write thousands and thousands and thousands of pages, then certainly I can probably write a short story, right? Like Natalie can probably write a poem. I don't know. I feel like usually I look at that and feel discouraged. I'm like, oh man, look at this guy who's clearly figured it out and has, I don't know, more skill, more practice, more power, I don't know, than I do. But somehow my brain's not thinking of it like that. I'm thinking of it as like, okay, if there's a human out there who can do something this crazy, then I can totally do something normal. Like, if something that sounds impossible is possible, I can be cool too. Yeah. Someday I might reach maximum cool levels also. There's this vampire novel that I've been dreaming up for a really long time, and it has to do with a priest who got turned into a vampire, like a very like man of faith, like, turned into a vampire, and it causes this crisis of faith in him because he's like, okay, how can God allow this? How can he do this to me? Is this some sort of test? How do I know that I'm doing the right thing by continuing to exist? He's like, I can't end my own existence. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do. And he's like, I don't know how to end my own existence either. I'm a freaking vampire. And so I have it so that he becomes even more pious as a result of his transformation into a vampire because he sees it almost as like some sort of divine punishment that he's fulfilling. It's like the entire like self-flagellatory aspect of religious belief. That's kind of what I want to just explore is this idea that I don't know, the way that faith can simultaneously liberate and constrain based on how you interact with it, what you believe, how you believe in something. I don't know. It's it's one of those things that even conceptualizing and I was like, man, is this too complicated? This might be too complicated. Like, I thought I wasn't doing a Brandon. I might be doing a Brandon. Because also I am very interested in how authors explore faith and religion and how it's constructed, how it's applied, how it functions in society, what it does for people on a personal level, etc., etc. Like actually, I just watched Dogma for the first time. Boy, that's a cool movie. I'd never seen it before a couple days ago. Um, and if you're not familiar with it, um, it's about two angels that a long time ago were kicked out of heaven and now they want to get back in. And for many reasons, and they have a crazy plan to do this. And for many reasons, like they must be stopped. And so a like human woman gets dragged into the whole thing and they're like, okay, you're the last scion, like you need to stop them. And she's like, okay, why? How? Why won't you tell me anything? And it does do the like exploring a person's faith, an angel's faith. Like it does the whole thing. It does the thing I'm talking about. And it's cool because they cast Alanis Morissette as God and she does a great job. All right. Alrighty. We are just continuing on our money making game. It's Dogma. Here, it's Dogma, right? See, now I'm like, what if that's not what it was called? Hold on. It is a little bit violent. Like, there's gonna be, yeah, it is. It's Dogma. It's a little violent, it's a little gory, but it's a really strange and interesting movie. Um, this writer director does a lot of interesting stuff. Some of his movies are really bad, which is true with every director, but a lot of his stuff is really freaking good. Um, our fairy roses are ready. Wait, give me my scythe. I need my tools back. We're fish smoking, and I need my tools back. All right, there we go. All right. Another movie I watched recently, again, the topic of religion, it's so big in my mind, is Conclave, which was obviously like really relevant because like we just had a conclave to choose the new pope. That one's also really good. Um I never thought it's a movie that's almost entirely old men, older men, I guess, and it's really good. I'm out here watching them big thinking movies. We got a big thinker over here, Mr. Big Brain. Yeah, hiding's cool. Oh, we've smoked so many fish and it's only 9 a.m. Very impressive. Oh, I don't have the broccolis in here. Yo, I'm gonna make some broccoli space. Got some corn too. We got fairy roses. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We've got 4 stones. Let's sell 4 stones. Actually, I should put the geodes in here. Boop. I still don't remember why I was storing up Omni geodes, but there it is. We have 893 of them. It's, it's a, that's so many geodes. Oh, what could I possibly need? Boy, oh boy. All right, there we go. I'm realizing I need to look into my little shed. Hold on, we got our truffles. We got our corn. We need more fruit to dry. So let me grab some more fruit. Um, we got freaking mayonnaise kingpin moves again. All right, fruit, please. What do we still have in abundance? Not many things, but this will make 10. Yeah, this will make 10 batches of dried fruit, dried melon. Yep. And do we have, how many machines do we have? We have more than 10. God dang. Dang. Oh, our wine. Hold on. I need to get the correct fruit to put into our wine. Into our caskets. Casks is the ones in the basement. Cascades are the ones in here. All right. This is more than 48. I do not know. I just know that we want to be ready when our casks are done maturing, and we want to be able to fill them all at the same time with all of the same wine, preferably ancient fruit wine. Okay, we put all of these in our chest. Oh, it is really fun to hoard things until the end of the season when we sell them. No, give me my coffee. Do we have enough? I'm realizing that I made more smokers than I'm currently using, which defeats the purpose of making more, but I just couldn't find a convenient way to put them all in here in this little corner. Ooh, okay, give me the sturgeon and let me put the lionfish in here. It's weird to separate them like that. The sturgeon goes in here. This is a small chest? Dude, it's wild. Actually, that means, all right, let me put all of this stuff in a different place so I can move this chest because it's in a dumb place right now. Perhaps I can just temporarily place everything in here. It's been showing you Fire TV and L'Oreal ads. Curious. I wonder if there's a way for me to check on my end what ads it's been showing. Only those doing nothing else? Oh my god. It's crazy. They really said, we're gonna influence you to get Fire TV and hair products. Only this and nothing more. Damn. Oh my god. That's wild. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. I guess we can put the other chest over here, but mm, hmm. Hmm. Perhaps. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Hold on. We're thinking. Got this guy over here. Hmm. Aha. Okay. We're gonna put it over here, and we're gonna put the other chest over here. This is a small stone chest, though. That's dumb. It's dumb. I'm gonna put you over here. We want a big chest. A big chest. I have a big chest. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not saying anything questionable, and it's okay. Um, Big chest. Whoop, whoop. Right. So we're gonna put this guy across the way. Oh, over here. There we go. And we can put everything else back in there. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Ugh. There should be an everything button. Okay. There we go. That's much better. Much better. Okay. Do I have Toonie in here too? Oh no, the tuna's separated. That's okay. That's okay. So let me get my things back. It's these guys. And then we organize, and we still have 4 smokers. We could put him 1, 2, and I guess I should move this guy. Oh, if only this corner wasn't an actual plant. That would be kind of ideal for a smoker corner, but I guess we could just put it over here. I'll put it over here for now. We hit these guys, and then we go around like this. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Honestly, hair product ads are really weird to me. Oop. Just in the sense that they're not, I don't know, there's no way for you to know that what's making the model's hair look that good is the actual product, because it definitely isn't. So that's the thing with a lot of commercials, is they don't really tempt me to buy things. I look at them and I go, you're not telling me the truth though. So what's the point? Oh, I should probably I can put the statue of the dwarf king right here. Oh, perfect. Then we got our blessings next to each other. Oh, wow. And then we got a path right here. There we go. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Yeah, exactly. A lot of ads just look really fake. And you kind of know that they're trying to tell you what you want to hear without getting in trouble with the law. That's all. That's all they're doing. They're trying to maximize their deception without getting in trouble. At least that's my perspective on it. These guys. Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is why, honestly, I like a lot of YouTube channels whose entire thing is just, all right, we got like 20 different like drills, and this is what they say on the package. We're gonna test them in like all these different ways, and we'll let you know. We'll show you what it does, how it does it, and whether it works. That's 10 out of 10 content for me right there. I forget the name of the channel, but there's a channel that does this really well, where he'll be like, "All right, I got a bunch of different like pliers or like sheet metal cutters or like dryers," and he's like, "These are the tests that I am gonna run. I'm gonna see like with the dryers, he did one with like a wet wig. He did one with like a towel. He measured the actual temperature output. He measured the like wind speed output. It was kind of fascinating. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good YouTube channel. Um and if you couldn't already tell that I'm a massive nerd, well, there you go. I'm out here watching a man test 20 different types of hair dryers, like, and enjoying it, especially when he shows me the spreadsheet of data at the end of the video. But yeah, that helps me know if I want to buy certain products or brands or not. Yeah, exactly. Like if for some reason an ad really gets to you, like one of them fake ass ads, and you buy the thing, it's often disappointing. This is why also like I try very hard to not watch like ads done by influencers or on TikTok Shop or any of those things because I know I'm like I don't know what I'm getting with this. There's no way for me to know. I gotta stay away from this TikTok Shop. Okay. Oh, the mayonnaise kingpin has a hard life, but boy is it worth it. We're gonna make 10 million gold. We're gonna go from 12 to 10 million in the blink of an eye. Just you wait. Ooh, I say that, but I worry that it's going to take me a really long time to actually amass the funds that I need for to achieve perfection. That and my golden walnut troubles. Yeah, we're having nut troubles. Ooh, that's right. Isn't that so embarrassing? Um, oh man, fancy yogurt. The only fancy yogurt I've ever purchased that was worth it was when I could really not eat any dairy. Oh man, what's the the brand. I blanked on the brand just now, but it was like a fancy coconut milk yogurt that comes in the glass jars. Um, it was really good. I don't think it's worth the price of it because it's really expensive. But they come in these little glass jars. You take the foil off the top. Um, boy, I wish I could remember the name of this thing. Okay, so much so. Oh, popping pearls in the yogurt. Ooh, that sounds. I think I would spit it out. That sounds like hell. Truthfully, truthfully, I think that's just the devil fucking with us. Oh my God. I have never looked at yogurt and thought, boy, I wish there were popping bobas in this. And I have never looked at popping bobas and gone, boy, I sure wish these were in yogurt. You know what I want? Creamy popping. Get back. Go what? Okay, I've said too much. I've said so too much. Oh yeah, yeah. Ooh, ooh. Why am I always the one disturbing myself? That's the question. Yeah, I don't know. Because sometimes I understand if like a small brand makes something that seems really strange or offbeat because they're experimenting. But when it's, I don't know, when it's bigger brands doing things, usually products have to go through multiple rounds of like testing and God knows what. That doesn't seem to be the case here. Pig. I should get another pig, except that I don't have any money. Hmm. Hmm. Whatever could we do about that? I guess we could go fishing. Oh no, I said I would go fishing again today and I didn't do it, huh? Well, guess we'll do it today. Look at that. Rising from the ashes. We're gonna be a millionaire. 328 G's? That's right. Mm-mm. We're doing it. No one can stop us now. I feel like Boba's been enjoying a... Well, do not give that to Penny. Has been enjoying a resurgence, just generally speaking. I mean, I don't know why this, like, popping boba yogurt you're mentioning makes me think of the coffee sodas I've seen. Look at that. Look at that. Our first wave is ready. Now we just need to wait for the entire room because I'm gonna need to just pickaxe all of these to harvest them. So that's exciting. We'll see that in a couple days. Gains soon. Coming soon. The gains. Oh shit, I need some corn in my pockets. Hold on. Is that corn in your pocket or are you just happy to see me? What if it's both? Here's some pocket corn. All right, we can do this. Cause then we're gonna just gonna go to Ginger Island for some fishing. And to check on our little farm because we were growing some taro root, we were growing some probably pineapple, if I had to guess what I decided to grow. Okay, there we go. Hey, we all have to like disgrace our country at least once, right? It is how it is. I have 3 whole countries to disgrace. So guess I better get started, huh? Okay, we'll put these. Oh, I need to put the corn back. Yep. Derp. Put these in here. All right, I'm gonna put these guys in here because I'm not gonna need them. And then I'm gonna be like, oh my god, where did I put all of my tools? Where's my coal? But it's in here. I've got my little shrimpies, shrimp cocktail. Let's make sure we get our blessings. Oh, blessing of luck. We don't need the fucking god. We don't need the mine blessing, but I'll take it anyway. It's free. It's free and it's fun. All right, Ginger Island. Oh, I forgot my cranberries. Anyway, all right, Ginger Island, what do you have to offer? Ooh, we've got bananas. We've got mangoes. We've got some pineapples. We've got broccoli. Okay. We got some taro in here, which is odd. But I don't have my site. That I plant a bunch of mixed seeds. That's probably why I had taro out here in the middle of nowhere. Okay. I wonder if this will tell us for sure that it is not farming nuts that we are looking for. You know, you're ever out there looking for farm nuts? That's me constantly. Okay, I feel like... Because I've done that mission that involves farming up like 500 taro or whatever. We would have gotten all of our golden walnuts from farming at that point. I'm sure of it. And I just did a bunch more taro, so maybe that's not what we're missing. And that's okay. We're here to simply fish. We're trying to fish up a bunch of lionfish. Some tuna would be nice. If we could keep it low end on the tilapia, that would also be cool because the tilapia is not really worth that much. I didn't bring any frickin' fishing items. That was silly of me. That was silly, a little bit dumb. It's bad planning, even though I thought I had planned to the max. There's that whole saying about best laid plans and mice and men, etc. Because we're using Willie's bait. I hate how that sounds, I don't know why. Damn, I've been here for almost 2 hours already? Wow. Turns out when I'm talking food and just simply fishing in Stardew Valley, time speeds way up. I mean, this is why when I first started playing Stardew a couple years ago, I'd blink and suddenly I'd spent 12 hours at my laptop and my back hurt. And my eyes were dry as fuck. Oh, I wonder if that's why my prescription degraded a little bit. It's all the Stardew Valley in the dark. Because I'd start playing when the sun was still up, and then I wouldn't notice the sun go down, and well, it is how it is. Ooh, magma geodes. Hell yeah. Alright, I got my pan. Let me pan the spot. What do we get? Ooh, bone fragments. We can buy more taro roots. Taro starters, taro seeds. I don't know what they're called at the shop. But we can keep doing the taro. Because just on the off chance that I'm wrong and I'm missing some farm nuts, then that would help. My hands are really cold. I am lucky I have central air. I pay the price, the very literal price. But it means that summer is bearable for me and our three cats, one of whom, Sprout, is a very fuzzy cat. Um, she's not a long hair, but she's kind of puffy. And actually, I was thinking about getting one of those combs that they have different lengths. Those it's the metal combs that have different lengths of I guess the word is brittle teeth. The teeth are two different lengths so that you can comb the coat and then like the undercoat. Is it called an undercoat? I don't know. There's like two coats. Cats have two coats. I feel like most animals with fur have two different layers in there. Um, because sometimes she's looking a little raggedy, and I try to brush her with the normal brush, but I don't know if it does what it needs to do. Ooh, wow. Ooh, look at that prehistoric tool. That +1 luck from our blessing statue is doing work. I'm hoping it'll do some fish work, though. Give me the good fish. That's what I want. I want the good fish. Yes, the lionfish, exactly. Oh, and our wife is here. It's Penny. Oh, I wonder if she's reading. There we go. What is interesting is that when I brush our two black cats, the collection of their fur looks very gray, and I don't know why. Oh my god, your cat tries to eat the brush? Beans doesn't quite understand being brushed, and I think she gets overstimulated really fast, and so she thinks it's like a little game. So she tries to attack the brush, and she keeps swiping her little paws, and I'm like, please stop. So I try to direct her towards a scratching post so she can scratch up the post while I am brushing her, and that seems to work fairly well. And I think she's getting more used to it the more I do it. Like she's starting to figure out like, oh no, I like this. It makes it easier when I go to like clean my own fur, when I go to, when they sit down to do the mega licks. Not the mega licks. Hey, is this like a freaking super cucumber over here? You a pufferfish? What, you an octopus? Who are you? 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 Oh, please reveal your identity unto me by allowing me to catch you. Oh, come on. Come on, 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 come on. Yes! Oh, it's a pufferfish. How much for a pufferfish? You're telling me $4.50 for this joker? Who put my laces through their own paces, the damn paces? $4.50? Bro, the tuna's more than twice you. The lionfish? Oh, now hold on. Hold on. Natalie looked at these things incorrectly. Hold on. He is worth more. They were just stacks. I feel mollified. I got so mad. I was like, this goddamn pufferfish thinks he's so special. Okay. What's going on? A tirade over there, and the pufferfish is like, dude, you're reading the numbers wrong. Yeah, I was reading the numbers wrong. Okay. Can't say that's unusual, but I wish it wasn't. I wish it was strange for me to make such a mistake. Okay. Tuna. Oh man. This is where the real money making starts. I'm also trying to build up a small pig army and possibly create a little more open land for them to dig up as many truffles as they want to, as They can dig up truffles to their heart's content. Content is the word I was looking for. That's it. We want to do pig army, mayonnaise empire, fish smokers paradise. That's how you get to 10 million gold for a golden clock. That and your wine, iridium quality wine. Pufferfish was so much easier to catch than the previous one. The previous one must have been a pufferfish who swam through a patch of caffeinated ocean. I swear to God. He would not calm down. Are you also pufferfish? He's got pufferfish. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, alright, alright. Everyone stay calm. Everyone stay calm and no one gets hurt. Yeah? 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 Oh, what? Ort. Oh, come on, man. Don't do this. Don't try to be a hero. No, 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 no. Okay, okay, okay. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Stay with me. 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 It was a pufferfish. Good. Damn. 3 pufferfish is equivalent to 6 tuna in worth. Impressive. But is it equivalent in frustration? That I do not know. That was a bad one. The middle pufferfish was easy. The first pufferfish was in fact the worst. That's a flounder, right? Yeah. Freaking flounder. Fucking beta in the world of fish, these flounder. Not worth shit. Oh! We got another one? No? Oh. We do! Did we get better quality on that? Nope. Okay. I'm like, maybe, just maybe, the game will reward me. And I'm realizing that it can't, because the only quality above Gold Star is Iridium. Oh, sorry, Leah. Am I in your spot? Turns out, you can go around me. You don't get to tell me to stand somewhere else just by creeping over my shoulder. That's not how human interaction works. You just say, "Oh, excuse me, Farmer Mo. I would like to stand in the ocean exactly where you are standing." And I reserve the right to say, "You know, Leah, thank you for opening up a dialogue so clearly, concisely, and politely. However, I cannot give up this fishing spot right now. I have fished up many a pufferfish here, and I will continue to fish for the foreseeable future." And then hopefully Leah will understand. As it stands, I don't think she's going to say a single word to me. She's just going to stand there and be weird about it. Which I understand. I'm a little weirdo. I do things like that too. I got social anxiety. But usually I kind of get so anxious that I prepare a ludicrously long and detailed script in my mind that I don't end up using. Um, yeah. My days of trying to predict where the conversation is going before it gets there so I can have an appropriate thing to say are over. And I'm happy to say that they're over because boy, did that take a lot of energy in high school. I was such an anxious soul. I still am, but at least I'm better now. Much better. All right. Oh, he's trembling. He's trembling. It's just the frickin' flounder, and I'm out of stuff. I'm out of juice, man. Yeah, on sometimes I will like create such a nice detailed little like script or things I want to say for a phone call, but I won't write anything down. So then I get on the call and I just forget everything. I panic and I'm like, hello. I'm like, hi. They ask me how I'm doing and I'm like, um, and I'm like, come on, Natalie, you can answer how you doing, right? Woof. Sometimes I do snap into like performance mode and I'm okay. Like my brain will go, "Oh no, we know how to do this. This is like pretending that you are someone else." Sometimes my brain's like, "You're on your own." And it's very easy to tell the difference. Because performance Natalie, I'm like every parents, like every 50 plus year old parents, like favorite 20 something year old. They're like, oh man, look at this, you got a bright kid or whatever. I don't know. Like my parents' friends really like me when I'm doing the whole like, yes, I am the quirky writer child. Haha, I am so much like my father. Hear this joke I have. And then they get really confused when I'm having an off day and I'm like either feeling a little sad or I'm tired or just I'm just anxious. And they're like, "Hey, like where's the usual pizzazz?" And I'm like, "Buddy, it is so deeply buried in the folds of my mind that I do not think I can conjure it. No pizzazz for you today." Oh shit, we got double tuna. Guess what? We got a few bubblies here. It's our wife. We love our wife. All right, let's get these bubblies. Hell yeah. Because we're out of everything. We're out of bait, we're out of tackle, we're out of time, we're out of patience, we're all out of love, we're so lost without you. Um oh, well, good thing we got some garbage taking up space in our pockets. We don't need that. So we'll take the silver lionfish. Hmm. Oh, that's so nice. Much better. Much better. I do feel like I need to put my little garbage hat back on so that I can match the rest of my family, though. Because my kids have little garbage hats, my cat has a little garbage hat. It seems unfair that I would be the one to change, but the tiger slime hat is really cute. It doesn't match our mayo kingpin outfit, but sometimes you just gotta take a stand. You gotta wear something a little risky. Make a splash in industry that only goes plunk. I'm talking about mayonnaise. Okay, maybe we'll end up going. Oh, never mind. Let's go back so that we have time to just smoke so much fish. Smoke so much fish that people won't believe me when I say I am not the fish man, I am the mayonnaise kingpin. I don't know why I'm saying it like that, like mayonnaise. Is it a mayonnaise? What do my fellow Americans say? I feel like usually we just say mayo. It's mayonnaise. It sounds like it's a little too much. All right. We go bada bing bada boom in there. Bada beep boom. All right. And then I still have coal in my pockets, right? Boo. Boo 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 boo. No coal. I gotta go grab some coal then. Oh no, where did I put my coal? It's not in there. Oh man. Hmm. It's not in here. Do I have secret coal reserves somewhere? It's not in here. What is going on in this town? It's not in here. This is strange. I've lost my second stack of coal. I know I didn't use it up. That would be a ludicrous amount of stuff to use up. The answer will probably be wherever the hell I put my tools. Did I put them in here? No. What have I done? There we go. Here's my coal. And when I put them away, I totally said that I was going to do this exact thing. I said it with the utmost sincerity, and I enacted it with the utmost sincerity. Oop. Next flounder. And lionfish. Lovely. We have I have a stock of Doja Cola, I think, in my mining chest. Here, there we go. Right, we're just chill out, smoking some fish. It's how we do in this beautiful kingdom, in this day of yore. Um, Miss Kitty Dora update. She's having a great nap, like she usually does. I was trying to finish my poetry manuscript this morning, and she was just in my face, demanding attention. And I was like, look, bud, I do love you. You are, in fact, my baby's cat. However, I must complete this work. It is imperative that I submit this work today. It's technically due today at midnight, but I figured that after streaming, I wouldn't have as much energy and like brain power to dedicate to the admittedly difficult and precise art of crafting poetry. Like, there's a lot of different poetry you can write, and it functions in many different ways, but regardless of what type of poetry you write, like whether or not you engage with form, you still have to consider multiple things. Obviously, you're thinking about what words you're using to say what you're saying. Like one. Two, you're considering, okay, what am I actually saying? Is that what I want to say? Um, and then three, you're thinking about how do I want to arrange these words on the page? How do I want to do my lines, like line endings, enjambment? Does this poem sound out loud the way I want it to sound? It's a whole host of things. So in reviewing my manuscript, I was going through, so the first round I read everything just to myself in my head to think about all of the like visual elements, the enjambment, line endings, like line lengths, all that stuff. And then I had to go through and read everything out loud to kind of listen for how things sound and see if the visual language of the poem, like how I arranged it on the page, matches the like auditory language of the poem, how it sounds. Boy, oh boy. If you have never read like a bunch of your writing work out loud to yourself alone in your office as a cat stares at you, I recommend you try it once because it's a really strange and humbling experience. Although, for a lot of the poems, I would get to a couple places and go, oh, okay, okay, wait, I kind of cooked with that one. Damn. So sometimes it feels really humbling. At times you'll be like, oh man, what am I doing out here? And sometimes you might go, perhaps there's more to me than I assumed. Oh, hold on. We gotta check on our wine cellar. We gotta check on the man that we like hold up into the wall. Still there? Good. We'll come back tomorrow to see if more of our wine has matured. We're going to bed at around the same time as our wife. That's so good of us. Maybe we can cuddle a little. Oh, all right. Let's see what this next day brings us. I'm hoping I can make it at least to the like it's not All Hallows Eve. What is the name of the is it the Spirit Festival? What are we calling? What are we calling? Ooh, chicken salad wrap. That sounds like a nice little lunch. I'm glad you were able to supplement your leftovers. You went out this morning and you bought milk, even though we have so many cows and goats? You know what? I'm not gonna question it. She was trying to be helpful. Usually I do need milk. Where the hell's our daughter? Rapid Jacob? Oh, there she is. I was like, girl. Trader Joe's does have a good selection of ready-made food. Look, this is beautiful. This is this is beautiful. I can't wait to see when the rest of these are done. Damn, damn, damn. Okay, I'm impressed with my own work. Oh, I'm so curious to see how much money that's gonna be. Ooh, thank you for mailing me a beer, Pam. That's strange and interesting. We have infinite energy. Dionysus, you say? Well, members of BTS are returning from their military service. Anyway, that's just to say that uh Dionysus is a song by BTS. It's a good one. It's really fun. It's high energy. Okay. These guys are running out of time. I know I planted them with enough time left, so I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I planted it. Maybe I'm cutting it close. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Well, I anticipated your question. I know myself, and I know when I'm speaking nonsense. Oh, dude, that's unfortunate. And I'm assuming that because it's warm outside, you haven't brought with you any sort of layers to protect yourself from said cold, to shield your fragile epidermis from the winds that would attack it. This is very unfortunate. My condolences for your temperature regulation. All right, let's slap all of these trees as we walk by. We'll have to come back for the things that don't fit in our pockets, but that's okay. Oh, I don't have any space in my pockets, obviously. I knew that. I knew that. All right, let's drink this coffee and speed up. Um, oh, you're only at this building on Mondays. Hmm, interesting. I don't know if I'd say it's time for a second work sweater or yeah, because moving the sweater around doesn't feel like it feels like it defeats the purpose of having a work sweater in the first place. Because the point of the work sweater is that it stays at work so that you don't like bring it home or forget it somewhere and then end up wanting it. But having two work sweaters, oh, it's too small. Boo. Unfortunate. Oop. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Beep boop beep boop bob. Give me the truffles. Give me the truffles. Oh, I should be making more caviar for sure. Oh, are you telling me there's a bunch of sturgeon in here? Yeah. Um, well, it's usually reasonable temperature, but okay, have they had the air conditioning on the whole time you've worked there? Because if they haven't, oh, okay. I was like, 'cause if they haven't, then maybe, I don't know. Usually I end up getting cold when I haven't had enough to eat in the day, so I wonder if you'll warm up once you eat lunch. Um, that's kind of like my terrible issue is when I'm going to bed and um it's been a few hours since dinner, of course, and I've been sitting on the couch like all bundled up. Like getting out of that warm little couch bundle is the worst. It makes me so sad. I get so grumpy and I'm like, I gotta figure this shit out. This is not a reasonable way to be right now. Yeah. So yeah, maybe you'll warm up. You'll eat that chicken salad wrap and suddenly your body's like, "Oh shit, we got wood to burn. Let's fucking go." Um, okay, let's see. We got some we gotta get our truffles. We got our sturgeon roe. Uh, do I have we have some strawberries that can turn into here we go. That guy can't do it. This guy can do it. Mmm. Sit in your warm car, but won't the car be too warm? Or mayhaps not. I do not know. I went out wearing this shirt and jeans, and I was like, it's too warm for this. But hey, perhaps not at first. Okay, fair, fair. Um, you know what? I'm just gonna turn these guys into jam. I don't want to go back out and come back in, even though I don't have enough strawberries to do all of these. It's fine, it's fine. Oh shit, okay, okay. We got so many dried melons. Wait, let's see what our stack is worth. Yo, 26,000 gold. That's crazy. Actually wild. Okay. Right. We gotta go deposit our lovely findings, our collections. These are new. We are going to sell these. I have just 4 mysterious truffles in my pockets. I have infinite energy. Incredible. I wish I could have infinite energy in real life, because goddamn, we got stuff to do. Oh, Dragon, I don't know if I've told you about the terrible, terrible dishwasher saga. And it's only become a saga because like I forgot to call the electrician on Friday. And so now we're having to try to coordinate like the electrician and the dishwasher installation. Um, because the dishwasher that I've had for the past couple years is the same dishwasher that my parents had been using for years in their old house before they moved to their current home. And I had that dishwasher because my previous dishwasher broke. Um, long dishwasher short. It broke. Um, it flooded my kitchen so hard that I think it damaged its own electrical system. There's now 2 floorboards in the kitchen that are just like this. They're like pitched up against each other because they warped. So now we have to wait for a while so that they slowly dry out and hopefully like unwarp a little, and then we're gonna have to like sand that whole part of it and restain it. But that also means that like there's so many dishes, and obviously like my partner usually handles dishes, but without a dishwasher, it's unreasonable for me to be like, well, you still gotta do all the dishes. It's a whole thing. Um, oh no. Yeah, I think I paid like 450 for my phone. It's a Pixel 8A, or maybe around 300. I got it on sale, but I that's the first time I've ever purchased like a new um kind of up to, I don't know, up to the current, almost current date phone, and boy is it nice. It works. It doesn't like weirdly crash out for no reason. Like it doesn't crash for no reason. I don't know, dude. It's really nice, and it takes really nice photos. Like I can I can see my cats in high def now. Instead of looking at like, because my problem is that I never used to take pictures because I didn't think it was worth taking pictures with my old phone because they're always so bad. So there's just like a whole portion of my life that's completely unphotographed, and that now I wish I had photos, but I just don't, and I can't fix that. Um, so that, along with really wanting my phone to be reliable, because sometimes my old phone, even if I had data, it wouldn't actually call people, or it would like mute the line for no reason. I was like, you know what? I need a reliable phone. I'm an adult. I should be able to afford like an actual phone with a good camera. I want something that I'm going to be able to use for years, and like cheaper off-brand phones don't tend to do that for me. I'm just gonna go for it. Um, and it's been good. I am glad that I've spent the money. Usually I'm not glad. Um, yeah, that's fair. Like you got an actual like camera. So you truly just need the phone part. That's fair. Um, I do not have a fancy camera, and truthfully, I so viciously hate to carry things around that I'd prefer to merge my camera and phone into one. And then if I want really nice photos, someone else can figure that out. Um, all right, we should refill our our egg hoppers. Oh yeah, battery life too. Absolutely, because you've been struggling with a phone that like doesn't reliably charge, right? It doesn't like plug into the charger. Am I recalling that correctly? It's definitely time for you to have a new phone. Hopefully you can get something with, that's within your budget but also is nice. Um yeah, you deserve a working phone. Mm. Oh, I see. I see. I mean, that also makes sense. All right, we gotta check our hoppers. Whoa. Whoa. Sir, I'm gonna be real. I don't think the chickens can keep up with this egg demand. Let's see which hopper empties out next. The mayonnaise empire. It is falling as we speak. Oh no. This is not acceptable. Do you see this? Do you see the prowess of the mayo kingpin? We've got 222 mayonnaise. At one point, I had like 420, I think last season. Now I feel embarrassed by these low numbers. Um, oh damn. Yeah, that's an old man phone now. That's like a 4 or 5 year old phone now. That feels like it should still work, but in the land of phone technology, that's ancient. Absolutely ancient. Oh, I could check my mushroom cavern also. That is not a euphemism. It sounds like one though. Mushroom cavern. Oh, I also want to see greenhouse. Right. I had some things that just I didn't have space for in my pockets. I need to see during what season I could buy beets. Beet seeds. Seeds of beet. Seeds of beet? I don't know why that sounds so nasty to me. It's gnarly. I revile it. Um, okay. Okay. Lovely. I guess here we go. This time I am simply keeping everything I collect to sell at the end of the season. The only problem is that this means that I don't have any money to spend on pigs. Hmm. Perhaps I should do some tactical selling so that I can buy pigs. I don't know how much pigs cost, but we're just gonna grab half a couple stacks. Half of these stacks. There we go. Um, and hopefully tomorrow we can buy a pig or two. Maybe that'll do. Let's find out. The Samsung S9 was released in 2018. Ooh. I mean, yeah, it sounds like it's been a really good sturdy phone for a while. And that it's like just now dying. It is perishing. Okay. Okay. Feel like I am forgetting something terribly important, but that's not true. I'm gonna call it. We're gonna go to bed early. Sometimes in real life, I wish that I could just go to bed early and change over to the next day. Ah. All right, let's get some pigs. We need them to grow up so they can go out and find a bunch of truffles. We can make truffle money, truffle oil money. Every time I think about this truffle oil, I remember the quest in which you have to give the mayor some truffle oil and he's like, please do not ask me what it's for. And I find that so disturbing. Like, I wouldn't have thought it was weird, beautiful, for him to ask for truffle oil if he hadn't told me not to ask. Um, yeah. Ah, yes. Inflation, the terrible state of the United States economy. Oh, the woeful future. All right, we've got Gus. Okay, I mean, he says he made this morning, this fish taco. However, he did mail it to me, and I have a natural distrust of food that has been mailed to me. I would encourage everyone watching to also have a natural distrust of food that has been mailed to you. Ugh. Especially fish. I'm like, bro, who caught the fish? Also, I have a chest full of smoked fish. Why are you sending me a fish taco? Like, I don't think this is necessary. Ooh, a coconut. You want like one of them, a green coconut? So you can get like coconut water from it? Or do you want brown coconut? Eat its flesh. That would sound alarming if I didn't know you were talking about a coconut. Mmm. I mean, hey, I'm for that. That sounds tasty. Inconvenient, a little bit of a hassle, but tasty, nice and fresh. All right, trash kitty, there you go. There's your water. Right, right. I'm going to hold on. I think there are some creatures that do not have an auto petter. Let me find which ones they are. And then I need to go to Marnie because I need more pigs. I do not need more dinosaurs. I have so many dinosaurs. Here's our one pig. And here's our ostriches. I need to see if they've left me a bunch of ostrich eggs, actually. They've got a new baby ostrich. All right. Usually I name them after a Shakespeare character. Okay, thank you. Dora just stretched and put her entire cat leg on my keyboard. That's not helpful, but thank you for moving your leg. Um, what Shakespeare character shall we name this ostrich after? I've been doing like characters from the Tempest. Ooh, Puck. Yes, yes, Puck. It's just I think pretty sure it's like hockey puck. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is truly the heart of the Mayo Empire are these ostriches. Yes, Dora is like with my vast knowledge of Shakespeare, I shall name this ostrich. Oh no, it's okay. Like I meant that more as we've got a lot of Tempest characters, so um we don't necessarily need to go down that path further. Because I'm pretty sure I have a Prospero and an Ariel and a Caliban. Do I have a Miranda too? Maybe. I'm not sure. Um, oh, thank God. I was like, Marnie, I'm going to end you. So 16,000. We can buy 2 pigs right now. 2 pigs. Oh, I don't know what I called my first pig. All right. Miranda really does not sound that old. What are we naming this pig? I don't know if I have a theme. I don't remember what I named the last pig. So it's up to us, fellas. Do we have any pig puns? Do we have pig characters? We can name him Porky, but I don't know if I'm into that. Hmm, what's a good pig name? Blanket. Yeah, yeah. Pig is blanket. Okay, okay. I like it. Pig is blanket, not pig in blanket. Got it, got it. All right. We got a second pig coming in fast though. Second pig. Um, into this barn right here. That's not how you spell mochi. Okay, I didn't mean to press okay, but I have, and so that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. All right. Okay. What did I name that first pig? Um, Trevor McRib. Trevor McRib was the first one. Now we got this one named by the game Machi, and then we have Blanket. We have, oh yes, I named one of the ostriches just Star. Boy, oh boy. We got Ferdinand. Yep, yep. We got Phoebe. Yeah, all right. All right. God, this is wild. Is Tuesday a traveling cart day? I don't know why my gut tells me it is. I don't think it is. That would be really strange. It is not. I'm simply incorrect. Right, back to ye old farm. We gotta load up one of those hoppers with ostrich eggs. Ostrich eggs, because they will bring us all of the riches we desire. I'm gonna leave these sunflowers here for now. Um, just for now. I don't know. I might be willing to. I should probably just redo all my fields once winter comes. It is what it is. At some point, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to harvest all of my giant crops, but I'm gonna feel sad about it. Except for the key fruit. I cannot be harvesting the key fruit out of season because it doesn't give key fruit. I found that out by accident. I was just trying to clear one away because it was just in the way, and a little pop-up showed up from Mr. Key being like, "Oh, you thought you could have key fruit anytime you wanted it. Turns out you cannot." I'm like, "Okay, I don't really care that much. Mr. Key, did you forget your meds this morning? Like, what's going on?" I never got an answer because maybe he was just sending me those messages directly into my mind. I don't know. He's a scary man. Okay. Right, I'm gonna decide this guy. This guy is the ostrich egg one. Because that's gonna produce, oh, actually, wait a minute. If we have 2 of them working on ostrich eggs, 14, 15, 16, 17, so 8. There, we'll do 9 and 8, and then we put these guys in other There, and other mayo machines. Okay, you still got quite a few. You got like 15. That's not a ton. Oh no! 30. Where did I get just straight up? Wow. Oh no. Alright, the mayo machines are imbalanced, to say the least. I really need to reorganize this farm at some point. It's impossible to walk around. Can't get anything done without bonking into things. Okay. There's no way that wine's gonna be ready. We just put that in. I guess we'll take some corn. We can make one thing of dried star fruit. I need to gather more fruit, but I just sold a bunch of fruit to be able to buy pigs. Nope, I do not wish to eat the truffle. Oh, God, can you imagine housing an entire truffle just in one sitting? Oh, that's nasty. It's nasty. And sometimes truffle oil is too much, as it is. And in small quantities. Truffle really is a strange flavor. Very earthy, I think. I don't know. Alright, let's organize. We'll go back to our chests. And maybe, okay, I said I was grumpy and I didn't want to figure out any golden walnut runs. However, perhaps I will venture into the lava mines for a little bit and see what I can find in there. So if we're going into the lava mines, what do we want? Let's be stacked up on luck. What is it? Hold on. I need to know what it takes to make Lucky Lunch. Sea cucumber, tortilla, blue jazz. That's neat. So, okay. So we want that. We'll just grab some bombs just for fun. And we'll leave all extraneous things. Yeah, those are the things that feel extraneous. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, let's see. +1 ore from nodes. And we'll just go in. We're going in, baby. Because I still suspect that is what I need to do, is still continue on in those, hold on, in those caverns. So I usually do it sword first, pickaxe first. I do not remember. I think I like to have sword out, so I feel safer. Boom. Boom. Yes, this bisexual infinity blade. Hey bird, what's up? Now that I've completed that bird puzzle, I love to see the birds hanging out during storms. Before I completed that bird puzzle, that sent me into an actual rage. Because the last one I needed was, it was the bird that appears right next to Willie's boat. Oh man. There was a stream when I just went back and forth using rain totems and going to Ginger Island, and I just never found that bug. Bug? Bird. And then the next stream I was like, fine, I'll try it again. And then there it was. Showed up, first try. And I was like, great, good, I don't have to try anymore, but boy, is it frustrating. Broken enough rock. Oh, come on. It might just be, no, that doesn't have a lot. I have an overlay I can use. What do you mean try to guess the order? Because for the birds, it doesn't have to do with the order. I don't know, I don't think they show up in a particular order. It just has to do with the gem they drop and where it's supposed to go. Because they show up in the area, like, that's in the direction. Oh, for the stones. Okay, wait, I think I usually have this the other way. It's throwing me off. Alright, sir, you blown up? He's blown up. Okay. I think we're looking from chests. And honestly, maybe coal. You having a good nap, Miss Baby's cat? Oh, you putting your feet out. I keep saying that someday there will be cat cam, but I mean it, someday. Someday. Alright, are there any chests in there? No? Then boo-hoo, we're not going down there. Oh, really? I didn't know that the order was randomized on each file. This is novel information for me. Alright, let's see. Ooh, okay. Oh, I also finally switched from the fairy to the parrot, which means that I have a chance to make a little bit of gold when I'm out here slaying monsters. It's not that much, but it's better than nothing. Because if I'm going to be out here anyway... and of course I say that, and now no money is popping out of these monsters, but it's fine. It's all for the love of the game or whatever. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I just said two opposite things. Wow. It's almost like sayings are highly contextual. Right? Ooh, we got more cinder shards. I'll always take more cinder shards. They're fun, they're pretty. They activate my little Corvid brain where I'm like, ah yes, I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing, and that is collecting shiny things. You can glitch the 2x2 water thing in the front entrance? What do you mean? What? Shard. Boo. What's the glitch? Like, does it serve a purpose? What do we do? I feel like I need to, I was gonna say upgrade my Stardew knowledge. I guess that works as well as anything else. If you water the water, it gives the same pile as watering the lava. Oh, what the hell is that? Squire's helmet. Boo. Strange. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, what? And then you can walk on the water? Alright, we'll have to check out the front entrance then. That's super weird. Wow. Wow. We're gonna get this guy just because he slimed us? Hate that. I hate it when we get slimed. Okay. Alright, we got a dragon floor. Except where's the teeth? Where's the teeth, dude? Give me the dragon teeth. I mean, it probably doesn't, but glitches are fun. Seeing the cracks in how a game is made is always interesting. Like, there's always something to be gained from it, I think. Even if it's just a moment of joy, of discovery. Oh. Okay. Ooh, my hands are cold and stiff. Let's take a moment to stretch. Yes, baby's cat. She looks so sleepy. I've never seen a cat look so sleepy before. Just kidding. Okay. No. Ooh. Come here. Give to me. Dang it. I don't even know if they can even give prismatic shards when they appear here in the lava mines. I don't fucking know. I'm just going around. I feel like we did not get good RNG here. Me. La la la. La la la. Oh, I always forget that they blow up, even though that's their main and only gimmick. Ugh. Okay. Come here. Pop your head up, buddy. That's right. Oh, God's tooth. I don't like that they can spew fire through the walls. That does not make sense to me. Why can you do that? Why can you do that, but I cannot hit you through stone? Or rather, even when I'm reaching over the stone. It's not fun. Actually, game unfair? Actually, monster have unfair advantage over player? Okay, come here. Wow, I'm really hurting on HP. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that, oh, I didn't bring my watering can. Ooh, I hadn't. Oh, Natalie, no. Boy. Boy, oh boy. Where's the way out? It's the next room. Gone the wrong way. Oh, there's a danger Dougie in here, huh? Too bad, you've been destroyed. Ah, here it is. Here it is. We're fine. We're fine. Oh, we might not be. We're not fine. Because I don't have my watering can. I've made a tactical error. I don't know why the hell I came in here without my watering can. Really? Va là. Baba. Silly, silly, silly thing to do. Guess we could just make the most of what we can reach and then we gotta go home. Unless... Wait. Hold on, hold on. I might not be completely lost. Hold. Perhaps there is light to be seen in this endeavor. I didn't realize there was a way up. Okay, hold on. We might make it. Okay. We got our shards. Okay. Oh, oh. No, 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 no. Stay away from me. You and your explosions. Stay away. Okay. Maybe. Oh, it's midnight. Okay, okay. And I'm still messing around over here and it's midnight. Apparently I don't care much for my safety. Ooh, I'm walking into a sentient fire. Oh, turns out I didn't need my watering can, except I'm gonna pass out in here. Hold on. Fire? Help, I'm on fire? Okay, we gotta go home, huh? Aw, I didn't want to. I didn't get to the end. Okay, okay, okay. Self-preservation wins. It's okay. Ooh, ooh. If only I had corn in my pockets. Damn. Our corn, our pickled corn is ready. Okay, okay, we're doing. Come on. It's okay, we can do it. Oh, my inventory's full. No. It doesn't matter. I don't need the squire's helmet. Okay, this isn't Fields of Mystery. I can get rid of the sap. Not the mystery and sap crisis. It is incredible to me that in Fields of Mystria, the sap is from an animal, from a little creature. Boy, that's unfortunate. It's difficult to farm. Because also those enemies aren't very common. I feel like they should be more common than they are. There should be an item, kind of like there is in Stardew Valley. There's the Monster Musk that allows you to cause more enemies to spawn if you're looking for a particular monster bit. A piece of a monster, perhaps. A little slime, a little muck, a little monster horn. Mm. Oh, man. Sometimes the soda just really hits hard. I keep trying to drink less soda and it just keeps not working. Ooh. But it's okay. I think there are worse things to be like consuming frequently. Like I don't really drink, I don't smoke. Like I think I have worse demons. All right, this is what I was talking about, that I'm gonna have to wait for this entire section because I put these in after I put these in. Ugh. All right, but that's our big payday. All of that wine, god damn. It's gonna be good. I'm very excited about it. Okay, we need to fill up our jars again. We got our ostrich mayo running. Our ostrich mayo pump? I don't know. Yeah, we can get to 420 by the end of the season. I only say that because last season that's what we had. We can get our, we need to make more of our caviar. We've got infinite energy. We can do anything. We can do anything. Actually, let's go crack open all of our geodes and like golden mystery boxes and whatnot. That said, sirs, I'm gonna ask you to exit my inventory, and then I've got some plantables that can go into here. And I think it's time. It's time for us to become truly the mayonnaise kingpin again. It's time to don our garbage hat once more and match with our family. Uh, yep, that's right. Live on stream, I've become the kingpin once again. The kingpin rises. Okay, we've got this guy, we got these guys. Let's take 3 of the Omni Geodes. Why not? Why not? We take them for a spin. And we can take the mine carts to town. And if Clint is not working today, I'm gonna find him and immolate him. Oh, his shop's probably not open yet. Oh, never mind. I was wrong. Processed geodes. Let's start with the golden coconut. Okay, it's an entire skull. And then we'll move to our beautiful golden mystery boxes. What is that? Orange sapling? No, not the bombs. Life elixir, that's pretty good. Ooh, a book. And then we'll do our magma geos. Oh, cool. Iron. No. Stone! Stone, Luigi! Oh! Okay, I'll take a fire opal. And I'll take an obsidian. And I guess we'll do the regular question mark boxes. Cherry sapling. Away home. Away to the beach. Bombs is whatever. Don't give me the totems. I can make so many totems. Again, hardwood? Artichoke seeds. I have like 2 of those right now. I can go sell that. Corn? Oh, the fertilizer is a W, though. That's a win. Oh, yeah! Oh. And then we get freaking... How long was this stew sitting in this question mark box at room temperature? Escargot. Ooh! Not escargot from a box. Ugh. Yeah. I don't know why I find that more disturbing than the stew. I think it just is. I don't care for the hardwood. Okay, yet more hardwood. I'm getting so many seeds for a season that's about to end. Why, man? Don't do that to me. Okay, we'll take the shrimp cocktail. That's fun. Another shrimp cocktail. Then we've got our Omni Geodes. Ocean Stone. Coal. And petrified slime. Petrified slime is one of my favorite ones. Oh, I forgot I had the regular little geodes. Bruh. Limestone. I don't have anything that I'd outright trash, so we're all done here. Goodbye, Clint. Let's take the minecart to the quarry. And we shall make use of the free bombs we just received to bomb the bejeebus out of this quarry. There we go. That's a lot of free resources, baby. Oh, I don't have space in my pockets for all of my free resources? Aw. That's too bad. Well, we'll go sell this ring at the very least. We can come back for the resources. Surely. Hello, boys. Hello, boys. I think I do have other things that I can sell. How much does this over? Wow, it's cheap. It's very cheap, because if I were to buy it from you, it would be a crazy price, right? Yeah. Like, even just a regular Galaxy Sword is 50,000, and this one's an Infinity Blade. You don't know shit. Boo! It's fucking embarrassing, man. Alright. Coffee me up, coffee me up. Alrighty, beautiful. We're walking fast. See, now that I've started this bombing of the quarry, I want to finish it. Because we got a lot of precious rocks and stone here. So, bus stop. We'll go back home. We'll stow items that we do not need in our pockets. Oh, bye, Lovey. Lovey. That's a bad choice. I got flustered. Got flustered. In here, boom. In here, boom, boom. Okay. The stones. Nothing else really I'm gonna sell, so. Beep. Beep. Now. Give me the bombs. Give me the bombs. I'm on a mission. Okay, I'm on a mission and I cannot be stopped. And I guess I will put all the farming things in here. Oop. Oh, I forgot about the skull, and then I have the geodes. Beautiful. I said I forgot about the skull. And we have the geodes. There we go. And now we're gonna go back. Surely we'll have enough space in our pockets now. Oh, and we took down a tree too. Gosh dang. There we go. And then we can do this last coal by hand. There we go. Lovely. I just like to come and grab the quarry because there's often just gem nodes in here. And that's just free money. Free 360 free gold. 800 free gold. It's probably a pittance. Actually, we should keep the jade. The diamonds we can sell though. Boop. We can sell the aquamarine and the topaz. The jade though. The jade we can use for staircases. Beautiful, beautiful mayonnaise. I see the world colored in shades of mayo. I was gonna see in shades of white, and I was like, that's gonna come off so wrong. I am talking simply about mayo. Please know this. Please. Alright, see, now I don't remember where I put my other things, but let me grab any rings and weapons that I do not need. I did find this iridium needle, but it doesn't sell for that much, so it doesn't matter. It's like, price of 2 rings. Let's see. I do want to keep the hot Java ring, the immunity band, maybe lucky ring. Okay. Soul sapper ring. That's crazy. I don't think I have any other extra things. Oh, here's my stuff. Cool. Cool. This parrot is extraneous. I think I can sell him over there, and if I can't, well, that's too bad. Okay. We'll go back. We'll go back. Well, let me just check in here again. Honestly, I never used the basilisk paw either. I could sell that guy. I will keep the perfect ice rod, though. Silly, goofy, juvenile. Let's go. Let's go over there. March over and be like, I'm never gonna give you my perfect ice rod. And he's gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and you're scaring me. So there's that. Ooh, we've got some forage. The fall forage might be one of my favorite combos because it's chestnuts and then the where am I going? It's the chestnuts and the spice plum, wild plum, and the spice fruit, and one more thing I cannot remember. Hello, sir. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Goodbye. You know what? Maybe I'll just walk back so I can see what kind of forageables are out here. Again, free money. And then I might do... Hello, Demetrius. I might do the minimum, and then go to sleep. Just because I want to get to the end of the season in this stream, and I've already been going for 3 hours, and that's kind of a long time for me. I should probably get like I need to get something to eat. I've got other things I need to tend to. I've got editing stuff. I've got housework stuff. Just cleaning up. Cleaning up. I want to help my partner with the dishes because they've had a lot of stuff to do at their job, and then also like their ankle decided it wasn't gonna work. I woke up the other day and it was like, well, I don't know what I did in my sleep, but it involved spraining an ankle. Whoops. I have done that before though. Do you ever injure yourself in your sleep? It feels like one of those embarrassing things to say where you'll be like, oh man, like my shoulder or my knee, and people are like, oh, like what did you do? It's like, actually, the answer is nothing. And that might be the problem, is that I didn't do anything. Mm. Oh. I do need to keep going on my daily walks. They were very good for me, both brain and body. I need to remember that. I need to keep that in mind. Oh yeah, I think they're called, what are they called? Um, Harley horse. I don't know what it's called that, but when you have a really like sharp, terrible pain that feels like it's gonna end your life, like in your calf, like the lower part of your leg, that is called a Charlie horse. Um, yeah, sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and I move my ankle and I am in like blinding pain. It's crazy. Like, what is happening? Has the world come to an end, or is this just my end? Turns out, neither. Turns out my calf was just cramping. Probably because I, like, move my feet in my sleep. I think I do, like, a little, like, motion like this, or, like, back and forth. Um, apparently, apparently that's restless leg syndrome, but it is what it is. Oh my gosh. Thank you for following me. I appreciate it. I hope you are having a nice time hanging out. I'm having a good time hanging out. We're just putting all this in the trunk. In the chest? The trunk? Um, I'm doing well, thank you. I had some dishwasher drama this morning, but I'm feeling better about it now. Now that the smoke has cleared. And I see an end in sight to this terrible dishwashery business. But how about you? Tell me, how is this day going for you? What see you in your future? Unless you don't want to tell me, in which case you don't have to, but you know. I always ask. I like to know. I do like cozy games. As you can see, I'm playing the good old Stardew Valley, which I think most people consider a cozy game, though it totally is a meme in the Stardew community that it's like, all right, finally, I'm gonna sit down. I've had a hard day of work. I'm gonna play a little Stardew Valley to unwind. And then you start playing Stardew Valley and it does not help you unwind. Yeah, that's the life. I also like playing Fields of Mystria on Wednesdays, and I can't wait for the full release of Fields of Mystria because even just right now, it's the early access version, and it's so good. It's really insane. Like the devs are doing such a good job, and I'm really excited to see the game in its like in its full form, in its final form. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm not even in my final form, you know. That kind of stuff. Uh, but I don't know, I've been trying to play a greater variety of games on Fridays when I do like wild card stream. I really enjoyed playing Hitman that one time. We ended up with like this is gonna sound crazy, but it was a comedically large pile of bodies. I don't think I've ever been in a situation in which like the pile of bodies has been comedic, but hey, we got there. Um, I have friends who are trying to convince me to give Minecraft a try. Um, oh my God, I see you. I'm getting around to it. But yeah, I haven't played much Minecraft or GTA either. That would be a new style of game for me to try. I've seen my partner play some of GTA. I'm not sure which one. I can't remember. It might be 5. They've also told me about San Andreas. Um, you know what? This carp? Goodbye. Discarp? More like discarded. It wasn't funny. I do have a cat. Her name is Dora. She's currently, well, technically now that my partner has moved in, I have 3 cats. So my original cat is Dora, who is asleep directly on top of the gaming laptop. She does not care that the gaming laptop is like, please, I need to breathe. It doesn't matter to her. She loves this. Um, and then my other 2 cats are Beans and Sprout. Beans, whose favorite thing in the world is to play, and who just loves my partner to the ends of the earth. And Sprout, who is a bit of a diva. She's a corpulent diva who knows her worth and will also start to bite if she doesn't get fed quickly enough, which I think is funny, but also is a little bit terrifying when she's feeling angry. Um, so it's Dora, Beans, and Sprout. I think we might be done for the day. We might be done for okay. We're gonna go to sleep. We're gonna go to sleep. Good night, kids. Wow, the kids aren't even asleep, and I'm going to bed. Bam. Um. Oh, Dora is sleeping so intensely that I can hear her breathing. All right, so you find many a thing cool, huh? I didn't actually name Dora. She came from the shelter with that name, and I thought, me being me, I'm like, oh, I'll probably come up with something incredibly literary. Like I'll give her a funny little literary name, like in The Master. Oh, she made us pancakes. Cute. Thank you. Okay. But in The Master and Margarita, there's a cat character who walks on his hind legs, and he's like this gigantic black cat, and his name is Behemoth. And I was like, I could call her Behemoth. You know, I don't know about that one. All right, we're still waiting on it. But the more and more I got to know Dora, the more she really embodied the name Dora, and it just stuck. So Dora is Dora, as she has always been and shall always be. Oh, that's cool. Just keep in mind that my chat rules, which you had to accept as you came into stream, say like no self-advertising or self-promoing, because I've had a few issues with people and or bots trying to get me to purchase their services. And I'm not looking to do that while on stream. Right. Evelyn, sorry girl, these cookies in the bin. Friggin' basura over here. Sorry. The mayonnaise kingpin has no time for such things. No time for such terrible little quibbles like strange cookies from Evelyn. Hello creatures. Oh boy, I'm just looking for the truffles. Excuse me, pardon me. Oh, hello little baby pig. Hello ostrich. There's so many of them. Isn't it lovely to have so many ostriches on our farm? It's great. Automod held a message. For reason, smart detection. No. I just said no self-promotion in chat. You gotta listen. I'm happy to have you chill out in here and chat, and some people like to do art while they watch stream, but please, like I just said, I'm not looking to buy anything or buy any art. Ugh. Because I am an artist. I make my own stuff. I am working I'm working on a BRB screen right now. Um Eventually it will be done. Um oh, there we go. They're gone. They're gone and they took their follow away. Bro. I usually try not to, I don't know, mention how I feel about these things on stream, but man, that sucks. Just in the sense of like, you're coming in here, you're putting a chat. First, I always try to treat every message as though, you're a real person who's trying to hang out and chat. You know what I mean? I don't want anyone to feel unwelcomed. Except then they try to sell me their art, and I'm like, oh, s- okay. Ugh, damn. Those pomegranates. Oh, it's because they're iridium. I was like, were those pomegranates bigger than they usually are, or am I tripping? I was not tripping. The iridium pomegranates. Oh, it's so annoying. Ugh. Ugh. I need to calm down. Sometimes it gets me a little worked up, where I'm like, nah. Gets me a little grumpy. It's fine. It's fine. I deal with those all the time, but that's probably why I find it so annoying. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's also one of those things where if I am looking to hire an artist, I will go to artists' pages and reach out to them every time. Every time. All right. We need to be having more truffles. 'Cause the truffle game is weak right now. We must strengthen our truffle game. Except our pigs are too young. Our new pigs, they're too young to find truffles. So I guess it's just a matter of time. I don't know how many days it takes for the pigs to mature. I don't like that. I don't like how I said that. Oh, all right, we'll put the corn back. We've got tea to collect. Ooh, wait. I've got a spot to pan. We found bone fragments. Uh-oh. Are they human bones or not? Who died in this tiny little lake on my farm? Did my grandfather commit a murder many years ago that now I'm going to find myself in the middle of? I don't know. I don't know. Oof, oof. Beautiful cornfields. We've got 2 chests full of a bunch of stuff we can sell. We've got pickled pumpkin randomly. Alrighty, we've got bones. Where do I keep my bone shards? Aha, here we go. Okay. Oh gosh. Mm. Oh, hi, baby's cat. How's Dora? How's Dora? Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. How are you? Here's the baby's cat. Oh, she heard something in the kitchen. Where you going? She was like, I'm going back to the warmth of the gaming laptop. Oh, baby. Oh, silly cat. Alright, I think we're gonna water the digital cat, milk the digital goats, and then honestly, we're going to bed in Stardew Valley. We do not need to spend every day awake the whole time. Although actually we should stay out long enough that the pigs have time to root up all their truffles. Never mind. I've revised my plan. Okay, I guess I can also check for eggs in the coops because I have some mayo machines that aren't being used because I don't have enough eggs. And in the Mayo Empire, that's a punishable offense. Like, careful out there. Mayo Empire, not as safe as you might think. John Locke might be unmilkable right now. It is funny when I name my animals after, like, English, notable English philosophers, because then I end up saying things like that. John Locke does not have milk for us right now. And I had a bunch of extra sturgeon in here. Okay. I still got one left. All right, let's check you out. Oh boy. This goop is producing. I think also maybe I just need to find the animals I have not yet animal crackered and give them the golden animal crackers, because that makes it so they produce things more quickly. There we go. This is a good haul of eggs. Let's go fill up our hoppers, our egg hoppers. Oop. My pockets are full. Okay, let's do two in each. That's not gonna get me far. Boop boop. Boop boop. Beep beep. Okay, boop boop. Beep beep. There we go. Now all of the hoppers are going. All of the machines. We can continue to expand our empire. Thank you so much for joining me. It is always a pleasure to have you here in stream, hear about your daily doings, your musings, learn about things like the hedgehog, which I'll have to Google and see what it looks like. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I do have to Google this hedgehog, though. I need to know. I need to know how ridiculous I'm about to make my birthday party. Possibly the most ridiculous. We may succeed in our attempts at ridiculizing. Oh, man. I thought for sure the pigs would find more truffles, and yet we're truffle poor. The ostrich sounds are ridiculous. Oh boy. Right. Oh, we still have 5 full days until winter, though. That might be a long time. That actually might be a full hour. I forget how long Stardew Valley can take. Well, it'll be a full hour unless I just go to sleep right now. Hmm. Hmm. Mm-mm. I will let you know. I will let you know if I can find the hedgehog. Okay. Okay. Just got extra milk. We're gonna sell the milk. Maybe, how much was I think the pig was 16,000. So actually we can get another pig. Let's do that. Let's get another pig. It's my coffee. Give me my coffee. We're gonna buy another pig to kind of increase our truffle finding chances. I might need to move my fish pond. Like I might need to go to Robin's and move the fish pond for optimal space. All right, she's not here, but we can still buy animals. There we go. Um, and this guy's name is gonna be Francis because Francis Bacon. There we go. All right. And that's all our money gone. Actually, I should probably just, while I have money, we're just gonna buy a little bit more hay, just a little bit. Because I'm always running out of hay. Ooh. Oh boy. I'll say a little bit and then I just spend all of my remaining money on hay. It's fine. It's okay. Well, that just means that if I happen across a portrait of my beautiful wife, I won't be able to buy it. It's fine. It's fine. That doesn't upset me at all. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Oh my god, added 99 pieces? The silo's not even full? Damn. These animals eat a lot of hay, huh? Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. Oh, hey Chickum, you need to make it back in, huh? You need to make it back to your coop. Okay. Okay, go to your coop, bud. Alright, it's 6:20. That's not such an appalling time for a mayo kingpin such as I to go to bed. God, I can't even make my jokes right. I'm tripping all over my words. 288. That's not enough. There's not enough mayonnaise for the kingpin. We need more. Hmm. Okay. It's 20 smoked tuna. That's crazy. 28? I love this. I love seeing these collections of things. 60 wild honey. Beautiful. Beautiful. 35 diamonds. That's so many things. Damn. All right. Yep. We're going to bed. We're going to bed. I think we're going to do one more day of collecting various goods on our farm, and then I will be done. I will have to leave the flip over to winter time for next stream because I don't see myself getting that done in a reasonable amount of time. Like I can't. Even going to bed at like 7 p.m. in Stardew Valley, I do that and then I'm like, oh, that feels unfortunate. Alrighty, we're saying hello to the entire family. Bada boop. Oh, we can check on our wine cellar. Oh, Spirit's Eve is tomorrow night. Okay, but wait. Okay, we're gonna do tomorrow night also. We're getting close because I need to go to Spirit's Eve so that we can have that scarecrow. Shit, I don't know how much it costs. Oh man. Okay, wait. I need to look at how much the Spirit's Eve scarecrow costs. Spirit's Eve Stardew. Um Shop. It's 5,000 gold. Oh no, oh no. Okay, okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna buy two of them. We need we need to sell enough. We need to sell things. We need to sell so that we get to 10,000 gold, which means we need to please, my tongue. We need to sell 7,000 gold worth of items. And undercut our final profit by 7,000. 25, 45, 6. So we're almost there with the corn alone, I think. And then maybe, so we're almost there with the corn alone. Okay. Well, maybe we'll sell some cheese also. I could do it. No, the cheese isn't worth that much. Okay, okay. We'll sell the corn and we'll sell the cheese, and I think we'll have enough. I'm doing very rough math this year. So the corn, this iridium ore, sell the cheese. That should be it. I don't want to sell any of the mayo because I want to see. Oh, we're at 420. We done it. We done it. We're at 420. 420 mayo. I've been there before and I'll be there again. But that should mean we have enough to buy what we want to buy tomorrow, which is two of the rare crows. Because this is my frustration knows no bounds. I had it all figured out, and the spreading weeds and rocks, they destroyed my scarecrow. Now I've put all the important rare crows on little tiles because I've been told this is good and helpful. Um, and I don't know, man. I'm a little worried. I'm a little scared. Ooh, and we've got more caviar. So fancy. No, I didn't put in my pockets the things I needed. Oh, but also it's raining, which means my pigs aren't gonna dig up any truffles. Bro, I'm out here working in the rain. Why won't my pigs do it? What if my pigs are lazy? What if my pigs are lazy pigs? What then? My pigs are lazy pigs. There's something to that. There's something humorous there that I haven't uncovered. My pigs are lazy pigs. Oh, I forgot to put the truffles in the truffle oil machines. Oil. Every time I say oil, I think of how Colonel Sanders says oil, the KFC guy. Just because there's that clip of him on one of those shows, those midday stay-at-home mom kind of shows. I don't know, where he's talking about the 100% whatever canola oil. I don't know. He somehow manages to make oil have more be one syllable. Oil. I can't do it. I can't imitate his accent. It's just deeply southern. Um, and I am not. Well, I guess you could say I am deeply southern just in the way that like I was born in Brazil. Technically speaking, Brazil is further south than the American South is. So there's that. I went on a technicality. Oh, you don't got milk? Crazy. What do you mean? Okay. Okay. No, no one's got milk? Bruh, the cows won't disappoint. Cows never disappoint. Good work. Except some of them are unhappy and they are giving me small milks. Maybe some of them just don't like me that much, right? My friendship is sorry, my animal friendship here. Yeah, John Locke doesn't like me that much. Some of these dinosaurs don't like me that much. Kitty? Kitty doesn't even know me. Oh man, Grumio, only one heart with Grumio. Oh boy. All of these ostriches. And none of these pigs. These pigs don't like me. They don't even know me. That is really unfortunate. I wish they knew me and liked me. I will go say hello. Hello to the pigs. So that they can both know me and like me. They are still babies though. They are still little. So they cannot be on the business of finding truffles. Truffles is the word. Oh, our ostrich barn is cool as hell though. Hey fellas. Y'all are cool. Keep it up. Keep it up. I think we might be at full pond. Yeah, let's bro, I'm not trying to milk the pond. That's crazy. Go. 2, 3. Let's do 2 more. 4. All right. And then we can these to smoke, so we need 5 pieces of coal. Oh, I'm so slow. Please, please, speed me up. 5 pieces of coal. Right? Sturgeon. And I guess we can put this milk to turn to cheese. Cheese this milk. No, we're not going to drink it. No, that would be a waste. Right, we have an extra ostrich egg. Go in here. Oh, we've got this fruit can be dried. We can dry this fruit. Sir, dry that fruit. Yeah, we can dry this fruit. Boom, boom. That'll make 1. That'll make 1. Alrighty. And the rest of this fruit can go into the chests. Oh, no, do not eat it. Just, we're trying to pick up this sturgeon also. Give it, give it. Oh? Okay, there's no strawberries in here, that's fine. Alrighty, do we have anything else we wish to tend to at the moment? Oop, that single tea leaf, yeah. Beautiful. Alright, we're going to bed because we want to do, what did they say, Spirits Eve? I don't know, man. Fellas, I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Yes, we're going to sleep. Oh, everything that is good. Okay, we did it. I got so worried. I was so worried I wasn't gonna have enough to buy the scarecrows I needed to buy. Because I have messed up before. Oh? Hmm. I'm receiving texts from my friends. Except when does Spirits Eve start? It starts at night. So we must busy ourselves until the Eve of Spirits arrives. Oh, oh, we need pocket stuff. What is happening? What is happening? No, 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 no. My phone has decided to come to life. I need it to not. Alright, do we have some... I don't know what beast took over in my mind. I suddenly looked at Stardew Valley and I was like, why is it so pixelated? Girl, that's just how it is. I feel like I'm looking at it for the first time. What is happening right now? I'm feeling incredibly disturbed. Like something about my eyes feels like it has changed and I do not like it. Oh boy, boy oh boy. Hello brain, can you go back to the way you usually are, man? This is uncomfortable, bruh. Ooh. Alright, hello cat. Hello, Miss Dora. Boop. 7:20 a.m. It's too soon. It's too early in the morning for this. Hello, creatures. Why? Why? This is your purpose. Fulfill your purpose, please. Oh, I just tried to milk a greenhouse. I just did it twice. There we go. There we go. Okay. We're just going, man. Oh, come here. This is John Locke. Maybe it's not John Locke. John Locke is not usually a purveyor of large milks. Hold. Hold on. Hold on. I need to make sure that I pet each and every single one of my pigs. I need to grow up in a loving environment. Same with the ostriches. Fellas, where are you going? Please? Please? If you bunch up all in the same place, I can pet you more efficiently. There we go. Oh, beautiful. How much do we have in here? Okay. Okay, really, having this many animals is kind of expensive. I mean, the profit's probably worth it, but I haven't done the cost analysis for the hay. Are there people out there who just don't feed their animals? Is that a thing? Is that a Stardew strategy? I would like to think that it is not, but I know the cost of Stardewing. Sometimes it is steep. Okay, here we go. We can put as many as we can. We don't have any other fruits. Oh shit. Ancient wine time. Damn, okay. 2 truffles. We need to grab our ancient fruit. Yo. Oh my god, did I check my wines in the cellar? I don't think I checked my cellar wines today. What if they're ready? What if they are delectably cured? Iridium quality. That would be so nice to find out. I would like to know. This ancient fruit back. Right. Alright. Alright. Oh. But what if I don't collect tea just once? What if I don't feel like it? Ooh. Look, working hard to become a millionaire is, how shall I say this? Hard. Sometimes there's a bunch of stuff you don't want to do, and you gotta do it anyway. Sometimes you're looking at a game and wondering what happened. Why is it no longer a game to me? Oh boy. Oh wait. No, critical strike chance. That's not what I'm looking for, though. I don't need that. I'm not a fighter. I'm a cheese creator. I'm a mayo pumper. Mayo pumper sounds dirty. Ooh, ugh. Erase that from your mind. That's no longer a thing. I am not a mayo pumper. I feel like how I'm talking about mayo is how Hank Hill talks about propane. Let's go take a look at our cellar. Shall we? All right, so we have these two columns and then this one, and then we'll be done. We'll be able to collect all of this wine and we'll have a final count for how much wine actually fits in that room. Have I said hello to my children? I haven't said hello to my children. Oh my god. Okay. Hi. Please, when does Halloween start? Okay. Okay. I need to let me go into Cindersap Forest, please. Let me go. Please let me through. I must go. Oh, it's Saturday. There's probably hey, if they have a beet seed at the traveling cart, I'll take a beet seed. Oh man, there's no traveling cart today. Hmm. All right, let's walk around and forage. Last few forages of the fall, yeah? That'll be nice if there's anything for me to pick up, which there doesn't seem to be. Oh my god. It's a dry ass fall out here. Oh my god. Mouse, isn't this crazy? What have you even been eating, Hat Mouse? Do you buy food at the saloon? Because there sure ain't any food out here. Oh, poor Hat Mouse. What if he just wanted a little snack? There are no berries or chestnuts to be found. Oh, I was wrong. There's one berry. Let's say maybe he's nibbling on moss. I much prefer to nibble on blackberries than on moss. Ugh. Can't imagine moss tastes good. Although part of me thinks that it would be fine, but part of me that's rational knows that it would be terrible. Hmm. Gold ore. Delectable. See, gold ore might even taste better than moss. Oh, there's another blackberry, but how do we get to it? No, please. Actually, I guess I could be scything this fiber to see if I can get any mixed seeds. Wow, my ability to choose the word for which my mind searches. Garbage. It's shot. I mean, to be fair to myself, I have done some brain draining things this morning. Specifically, I called the electrician later, but at what time? I called the electrician not once, but twice, because he told me he would call back in 5 minutes, and then he completely forgot. Just completely. And calling people is not my strong suit. I find it stressful and anxiety-inducing. And I had to make sure I asked him a lot of important questions about the actual electrical work that was happening. And I struggle to feel like people are depending on me. It causes me like undue stress. I'm trying to figure out how the hell not to lose my mind when people are depending on me, because that's a very normal part of life, is people will rely on you, they'll depend on you. And I want to be reliable and dependable. And I am working to be that way. Alright. I guess we can clean up this area. Oh, nope. Didn't mean to do that. Don't. Nope. Back. Go. Okay. Pop-up will show up when it's time to go to go to town, quite literally. Go into town. We could say go to town. Go to town. There we go. Go. Beautiful. I know I just checked this, but now I'm scared. Just perpetually afraid that I won't have enough food for my creatures. My little piggies and my ostriches. Now, y'all are doing a bad job of finding truffles. Damn. That's really sad and annoying. Oh, oh, do I not? I do. I was like, I know I have a little milk that needs to be deposited. Deposit that milk? Hello? I'd like to deposit the milk. There's no milk bank, only cheese presses. Soon, right? Soon I will be able to go to the Halloween that is not Halloween. Just don't know how soon. Okay. And here. All right. And then we just the rest of the stuff into other chests. Do you go into here? Mm-hmm. And then Omni Geode. I know where that goes. I remember that. Oh, I wonder if there's forageables at the bus stop. Let's go look. Oh, we got some wild plums. Yes. Give me the plums. Take me to Plum City. I don't think I'm allowed to go into town yet. Please, please, I just wish to celebrate the spooky season and buy that god dang rarecrow. Oh, let me in. Please let me in. I'm gonna get back to my farm as soon as right right when they say like, oh yep, you can go in, go ahead. It's festival time. You're good. Alright, alright. Fine. I will pick my tea today. But only because I feel like I have nothing left to do, and I'm just waiting. Hate to feel like I'm waiting. Well, actually, I am waiting. I do, in fact, have nothing left to do on this farm right now. Let me go. Just let me go. I wish they'd let me say, I'm done playing this day. Take me to the event. Hmm. Because that's it. I am done playing this day. Please take me to the event. Oh, I have nothing in here that I want to put in there. Hmm. You know what? That's fine. We're just gonna do that for now. I know it's dumb. I'm gonna go look at my casks down in the basement again because they bring me joy. This to me is very soothing. I see my future, like the future I envision in these casks. I want to collect them all at the same time, and then I didn't put them down here at the same time. I'm a little bit concerned by this gap right here. Did I miss a cask? I think I missed a cask. That is a horrifying concept. But I'll find out once I start harvesting them. All right, the cat's already asleep. And Penny's in here. What? What if the spirits Eve festival, whatever? It's getting so late. I think it probably starts late at night, and I just don't remember it because it's been an entire Stardew year since I've been to it. Please, please. Does it start at 10? If it starts at 10, that's crazy. It is. It probably does. That is crazy. I'm gonna take out my anger on these trees. Just because I can. And because my axe is so damn sharp. Cuts things down like nobody's business. Yep. Yep. You're victims to a senseless crime. Deforestation. And I'm the man to do it. No stream boo. That's rude. It's rude. Bro. Bro. How does that count even still exist? There we go. It's time. It was an account that seems to be created with the express purpose of just spamming that message in chat. And it's existed since 2023. I do not know how that's possible. There we go. We have the rarecrow. We've done it. That's what we're here for. It really, that's what we're here for. I'm gonna go through the maze. I don't remember exactly how this goes, truthfully. Okay. But that golden pumpkin, I don't remember for how much it sells, but that's okay. Well, there we go. This way. Is it this way? Did I misremember? Well, did I misremember? Is it different? Hold on, this feels like it's a little different, but maybe I just haven't been here in a while. Uh, you feel different to me. What is happening here? No, no, Shane. Okay, okay, okay. Um, who are you? Oh, wait, I've never seen Leo in the maze. Hey, bud. Hi. Okay, we can go talk to him. Hold on, that one's new to me. Hello, sir. This is a maze inside of a maze. My head is spinning. Okay, bud. Um, hold on. Let me go. Okay. Um, I don't remember. Hmm. Okay, what do you say? What do you say? Oh, there we go. I'm behind the house. To what effect? Uh, uh, the fuck? What? Am I crazy? This is not how I usually do this. It's really not. Hold on. Hold on. Usually, I feel like I'm losing my mind out here. I guess the maze is different once Leo is added. So I'm looking at the sides here. That has to be something to do with it. Oh, there we go. I've done it. Mr. Big Brain himself out here. Ta-da! What? Okay, okay, I'll take the prize ticket. Where the fuck is the golden pumpkin? Sir? Sir? Where's the golden pumpkin? What? Hold on, are there two solutions to this maze? Is my memory really that bad? Have I not done this event since Leo's been here? Hold on. Hold on. Oh well. You know what? I'm content with what I've accomplished here tonight. We can check off that rarecrow. Honestly, I was gonna put it out on my farm, but now I'm a little afraid to. I might put it in a chest for tonight. I'm scared. I'm scared that it's gonna get overtaken by weeds and die. Because that's what happened last time. Let's put it in here for now. Beautiful. Oh, and actually this prize ticket goes in here as well. Beautiful. Alrighty, alrighty. This is enough Stardew for one day. I've also been leaning forward in my chair, even though I keep trying not to do that, and it's starting to hurt my lower back. Alrighty. We're going to sleep now. Penny, I hope you had a nice Halloween. Alright, folks, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me during this Stardew time. We will continue onward on the path to perfection. I'm gonna figure out exactly which walnuts I'm missing before next stream so that I don't have to painfully run around on Ginger Island screaming at just inanimate objects, wishing for the walnuts to appear to me. On Wednesday, we'll have some Fields of Mystery. On Friday, I don't know what I'm playing yet. It's a mystery, even to me. But if you enjoyed hanging out today, come back on Wednesday, come back on Friday, come back next week if Stardew's the only thing you're looking for. That's fine. You can do whatever. Um, that being said, I hope you have a lovely day. I'm gonna get something to eat. I'm gonna pet the cats, hang out on the couch, and then get up and do more work. Life is what it is. Thanks for stopping by. Goodbye. Goodbye.